Hodgetwins Podcast. It's gonna be a damn good show. Hey everybody, we got a damn good show for y'all. We got Anthony Aguilar. He's a retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel and Green Beret who served roughly 25 years in the military, including several deployments to Iran, several deployments to Iraq, Afghanistan, and overseas assignments. He's a graduate of West Point and has been awarded the Bronze Star and Purple Heart for his service. In 2025, Aguilar worked as a security contractor for the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation through UG Solutions, helping secure humanitarian aid distribution sites in Gaza. Can you start with your career and like some of the experiences you had, so to give credibility to who you are, as if that's not enough, but right.
Certainly, and I appreciate the intro, and it's great to be here today. But I joined the Army at 17. I did the delayed early entry program out of high school, and was turned on to the prospect of becoming an officer. So I went to West Point and was commissioned out of West Point as an infantry officer, a ranger.
You could have did anything. Why infantry?
I just I had that itch.
Yeah,
I wanted to, I had that patriotic belief in leading America's sons and daughters in the most dangerous and austere places, and out of West Point, I could have had my pick of anything.
Right.
I chose infantry as what I wanted, and shortly after graduating, and then going off to Ranger School, I found myself in Iraq, in Fallujah, leading an infantry platoon.
18, 19 years old.
So at that point, by the time I graduated from West Point, I was just shy of 22, but 21 years old.
21.
Out of West Point, Ranger infantry platoon leader.
You don't want to know what I was doing at 21. Well, you're doing at that age, you're already an officer. You graduated from West Point, and you're 21 years old. Like when I think of a patriotic American, you're like, you epitomize that.
Well, I really believe in the values of our nation and we the people, which is why I've become very outspoken and direct in my experience about where our country is and what our country is now involved in, to where I firmly believe that we must be America first. And right now, we aren't. Whether it's our money, whether it's our politics, whether it's the lives of America's sons and daughters, the lives of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines that I served with and led.
Where you get those values from? You get it from some family member, your dad, mom?
Very much so from my parents. My mother served in the Air Force. My father served as a Marine in Vietnam era. He was drafted. My mom was in the medical corps. But then on both sides of my family had family members that served everywhere from post-Vietnam, Cold War era through the Gulf War, all the way up until the invasion of Iraq before one of my uncles retired. But I grew up around that. I grew up wanting to serve and be a part of the greater good for our nation. Like I said, I firmly believe in our nation's values of we the people, and that as we continue on as a nation, we get better because of we the people. And part of that is defending our way of life, defending our Constitution, defending the rights that we all enjoy. And that's really what led me to want to join the military, and then ultimately to stay in. Out of West Point, you have a 5-year commitment. I could have been out at 26 with a degree, with all that experience, and gone into Wall Street or Fortune 500. And
but you did 25 years in military.
I stayed, and it was when I hung it up. It was 24 years, 7 months, and 19 days, 3 hours.
So you won the Purple Heart and Bronze Star. How do you win those? Well, not win. How are you awarded those medals?
So the Bronze Star there's the Bronze Star. I received the Bronze Star for Valor and the Purple Heart, and that was my first deployment to Iraq as a lieutenant platoon leader.
Okay.
So a firefight leading my platoon through an ambush. We had been ambushed and we were fighting our way out of it. I lost quite a few of my soldiers that day, both wounded or killed. My radio telephone operator received the Distinguished Service Cross for his actions. My platoon sergeant received the Silver Star for his actions. And that's something that really codified within me that sense of duty and loyalty to my fellow service members. But on that day, that day still is as clear as if it was yesterday.
Right.
And as we're being fired upon and we're firing back and we're fighting our way through this ambush, there wasn't Lee Greenfield and the American flag and apple pie in America.
Right.
Combat is dirty
Yeah.
and violent and bloody and scary. And as we're fighting our way through this ambush, one of the Iraqis that had been firing at us, he was also hit by an Apache gunship, and it severed his body from the legs down. And as we moved through the ambush, he was still alive. And in accordance with the rules of warfare, when your enemy is no longer fighting, you render aid if possible.
Right.
So as he's having aid rendered, he was talking and speaking, and my interpreter at the time said he's apologizing. He's saying he's sorry. And I was like, well, he's sorry. I mean, what do you mean he's sorry? And it's like he doesn't want to fight and kill you. He's fighting because you're here. And that's something that really shaped how I thought about when we go to war and the enemy that we are fighting and the enemy that we perceive as the enemy isn't always this monolithic enemy.
Right.
Some people are fighting because they are also fighting for their way of life.
Right.
And when you approach that from a sense of warfare or conflict to where you see the other, whether they're the enemy or the adversary or the opponent or the indigenous other within society, to take that perspective of, well, they too are also defending and fighting for what they feel is their way of life, beyond the scope of, how many, we're still in Iraq to this day.
Right. Right.
The memorandum of the authorization for the use of force that took us to Iraq in March of 2003, to this day is still the same legality that keeps us in Iraq to this day with combat forces.
So
we have people now serving in Iraq
Right.
that weren't even alive when 9/11 happened,
Right.
that weren't even alive in 2003 when the invasion happened. We've got young 19, 20-year-old service members serving in Iraq that weren't even alive to see how this started.
Right. So that was like a humanizing event with that interaction with that guy. I'm sure he later died.
Oh, he passed, yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's like it was very humanizing to see it from that point of view. And looking back on it, we were in Iraq because of weapons of mass destruction, right?
That was the narrative.
How do you feel about that narrative today?
I feel betrayed. And I'll tell you why, because we were led to believe that going into Iraq was directly connected to the events of 9/11 because of the greater al-Qaeda network and because of the connections of global terrorism or the world or the global war on terror and Saddam Hussein's regime's connection to that.
Right.
Weapons of mass destruction. And I'll tell you, I've been from south to north, from west to east, everywhere in between in Iraq, and there were no weapons of mass destruction.
Right.
Not even the trace. And the narrative over time changed from, in 2003, 42 days after the invasion, President Bush flew onto an aircraft carrier with a huge banner that said mission accomplished.
Yep.
And praised us all for our war fighting and how we defeated. We're still there.
Right.
And
we see a lot of that today through Trump saying how he's won this war like 50 times.
Every day he's won the war.
Yeah.
Every day it's
the same bullshit.
It's the same. And I feel in this administration, I feel betrayed in that, and I think many service members feel betrayed in that when this war began on the 28th of February, and our president took to the stage and told us all we're fighting this war for the people of Iran to rise up and take their country back.
That's crazy gaslighting right there.
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And a bunch of Trump tards believed him.
Believe it, hook, line, and sinker.
You know what's crazy in that story you brought up about that Iranian soldier that later died, those words he uttered to you before he passed away? That's what war is. We're there fighting for our way of life, and they're fighting for their way of life.
Well, yeah.
That war should have never happened.
Well, let's also look at Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
The entire reason we went into Afghanistan in October of 2001 was because the intelligence, the reason is because the Taliban was harboring Al-Qaeda.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, the Taliban could barely even govern and manage their own nation, much less harbor the Taliban.
Right. So it's the same type of lies. The same lies they're using in Iran today, they use those same lies in Iraq and in Afghanistan. I think they're harboring terrorists.
And Vietnam?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
same playbook.
It's the same narrative and the same playbook. And it's a powerful narrative.
Mm-hmm.
It's a for lack of better terms, it's been a successful playbook to convince Americans that yes, that's what we should be doing, to then convince young Americans to join to fight in these wars.
Mm-hmm.
When the towers went down, what American didn't see that and felt anger?
I remember that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? And then when we were told how it happened, it's like, okay, well, we better fight them over there before we have to fight them over here.
Yeah, right. Makes sense. We got to bomb them now before they nuke us.
But then we label everyone as that. Whether you're a child, well, they'll grow up to be a terrorist. Whether they're an old man or an old woman or a tribal leader or a matriarch in their family tribe, well, they're the ones that espouse this. And it's not true.
Right.
In Afghanistan, we didn't fight 21 years of war. We fought 21 years. We fought 21 one-year wars because the strategy and the objective constantly changed. To where it's rid the nation of the Taliban, raise up the Northern Alliance, put Hamid Karzai in place. Now we have this beautiful blossoming democracy.
Right.
Well, that didn't work. So then it's like, oh, well, we can't have a blossoming democracy unless we do this, this, and this, this, and this. And at one point, 2009, the strategy was village stability operations. And when I saw the overall plan, the concept of operation, I looked at that and I said, well, this sounds a lot like the strategic Hamlet program in Vietnam that didn't work.
Right.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's got a different name. I was like, okay, we've given it a different name.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Right.
And we went into a village in Aruskan where we were going to establish ourselves, and this is a Green Beret mission. This is a special forces mission.
Right.
Foreign internal defense, security forces assistance, counterinsurgency, insurgency, raising indigenous forces. And so we go into the village and we meet with the village elder, and the village elder said, "Are y'all Russians?" I was like, "No, we're not. We're not Russians. What are you talking about? We're Americans." He was like, "Why are y'all here?" And we're like, "September 11th, the buildings." We showed him pictures, and he was like, "Oh, why are y'all here?"
Yeah, we got nothing to do with that.
He's like, what do y'all want with us?
Right.
And we said, well, here's the deal. We got an offer for you. We're going to train you. We're going to take all your military-age fighting men, and we're going to make a militia, and we're going to make your village and your women into an auxiliary force, and we're going to raise you to be a militia. And they were like, well, we don't want to be a militia. And we're like, but don't you want to fight the Taliban? Who? Like the Taliban. And they're like, oh, those guys down in Kabul? Nah, they don't bother us. Why should we bother them?
Right.
And we're like, come on now. Don't you want to join the winning team? Get in on the fight for democracy and freedom?
Right.
And they were like, no, we don't want to do that. Can you just leave? Well, you're terrorists if you think that. And they're like, well, fine, train us. And we did. And as soon as we trained them, we abandoned them because the strategy next year was it's not village stability operations anymore. It's creating specialized commando battalions within the Afghan army.
Sounds like a lot of military theatrics.
Theatrics, lies.
Money for the military-industrial complex?
The military, and that is what, over the last year, having come back from Gaza, but also engaging with members of Congress, I've made it my mission now to inform and educate members of Congress of the reality of the military-industrial complex and where our dollars go, and what's on the other end of that dollar. Every munition, every joint direct aerial munition, JDAM, 2,000-pound bomb that is dropped in Gaza comes from us.
Right.
We make it, we manufacture it, we give it, and we allow it. Every piece, every pound of rubble in Gaza from north to south is a direct result of the United States military-industrial complex and sadly, the American tax dollar.
Yeah.
To the tune of billions.
Brown University did a study about all these wars we fund in the Middle East. We spent like something around $16 trillion.
Yes.
$1 trillion. The taxpayer funded. And that has a dramatic effect on us, the cost of our dollar. That's why everything's going up.
Well, just right now, this year, October 1st starts fiscal year 2027. The National Defense Authorization Act to fund the Department of Defense and all of its associated activities, readiness, manpower, war, paying our soldiers, taking care of our soldiers, is a $1.55 trillion top line. Now, because the war that we've been fighting over the last 142 days with Iran was never approved by Congress, and people often take this out of context to say, well, Congress didn't approve it, or Congress, who cares if Congress approved it or not? The president can do what he wants. Okay, well, if the president diverges from the law through loopholes of, well, technically it's not a war.
Right.
It's a special mission.
Right.
It's an excursion.
Right.
I don't have to have Congress's approval. Okay, well then you're not going to get the appropriated funding. So now we have a $1.55 trillion National Defense Authorization Act and a $500 billion resolution bill because we fought this war. There's cost,
right.
but there was no funds to pay for it.
Right.
So now the Department of Defense is on the line to say, we're giving you $1.55 trillion. You're going to have to pay for this war that we never authorized out of that. And now other members of Congress are saying, whoa, no, let's give them more money. So in reality, come 1 October, our National Defense Authorization Act is going to be to the tune of about $2.1 trillion.
Wow.
And that's not for better housing for soldiers.
Right.
That's not for better benefits for soldiers and their families.
Right.
That's not going to homeland defense or the defense of our nation. That's going to hypersonic munitions, hypersonic missiles and bombs, jets, F-35s, to Israel, and to fight this war with Iran that, quite honestly, we cannot win.
Can't, because they're fighting a totally different war. It's an economic war.
Think about how far we're going to, regardless of how far the U.S. is willing to push, whether that's taking Kashem Island or Kishk Island or Karg Island.
Karg Island. That's going to be a lot of death.
There will be.
It'll be 10,000, maybe 100,000 soldiers would die.
So here's where the military-industrial complex and our politicians take advantage of that because Americans have short memories. We don't. I mean, I say, can we go back to 142 days ago when we were told by the president and by the Secretary of State and by the Secretary of Defense and by someone that I have a close and personal relationship and have worked with, General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, when they stood there and they told us, this will take days.
2 weeks.
Couple weeks. Won't cost us much.
Right.
Their Navy's destroyed. Their Air Force is destroyed. They got nothing. Their missiles are gone. Okay, well, the counteroffensive in mid-March doesn't look like their missiles are gone.
Right.
The counteroffensive over the last 48 hours where they're striking back, it doesn't look like their missiles are gone. But if we push it, if the United States continues to push, especially with something like Karg Island, well, then we draw China and Russia directly into it. The United States cannot compete and win against the technology, the military advancements of Russia, China, and Iran when Iran is fighting an asymmetric war.
Yeah, Trump supporters are not trying to hear that, though. We're the best military in the world.
Well, you know, that's the if you take the United States military, Marines, Army,
Right.
Coast Guard, Space Force, you put it all together, pound for pound, yeah, you could say that we're the best military. However, it doesn't matter if you have the most exquisite tool in the toolbox. If you're using it the wrong way, doesn't matter.
Right.
I could have a $300 nice roofing hammer, but if I'm using it to open cans of soup, well, I just wasted
Right.
the resource doing something that it wasn't designed to do, doing something that eventually it'll break that tool because it wasn't designed for that.
It's not going to have any payoff.
It's like a world-class boxer just going, it's what Muhammad Ali did to George Foreman. He just punched himself out. He was the bigger, stronger guy. It doesn't mean anything. It's how you use it.
And so that's a great analogy. And when you look at the boxer in the ring, when you consider like the 12-round fight, you can come out swinging hard in the first round. And if your opponent doesn't have endurance and if your opponent doesn't have the will, you might get him by the second or third. But you can't keep that level of intensity for 12 rounds.
Right.
And if your opponent knows that and isn't looking to lose the fight, which Iran is not looking to lose this fight, they'll wait until the 10th or the 11th round when you've gassed yourself. Then it doesn't matter how big or strong you are. All they need is that well-placed jab or even an uppercut, and you're done. You're done.
Or for you to just run out of oil and wreck the whole, not only the U.S. economy, but the entire world's economy.
And really what's really concerning me with this new level of escalation, and this deeply frustrates me, because when we first initiated this war on the 28th of February, I immediately looked at that and said, I asked myself, because I used to be the pinnacle of my career before I retired, I was a joint planner. I mean, planning concepts of operations for the joint force in theaters such as this. I did. In Syria, when we were fighting in Syria, I briefed the president of Donald Trump at the time on the withdrawal from Syria.
Wow. Okay.
Predicated on some of the same things that he says now. So I know where his mind's at in terms of how he's thinking. And when you look at how the plans are being laid out now, this has already leached into the rest of the region directly, because other nations have now looked at, the Strait of Hormuz. That could be a problem. Whether it's a problem now temporarily, it's now shown a weakness in our import export. So we want to look to another route.
Right.
And that other route is becoming increasingly more important on the Strait of Bab el-Mandab, which is in the Red Sea, Yemen, the Houthis. So Saudi Arabia, technically one of our allies, has now looked at that and said, well, we better figure out a way to secure Bab el-Mandab, because if we lose the Strait of Hormuz again, and we lose the Bab el-Mandab to the Houthis, we're screwed.
Right.
The globe.
Right.
It's 50% of the world's economy. So we now have Saudi Arabia backing groups in Yemen, the tribal alliance in Yemen. Well, the UAE doesn't like that, because that's in direct contention to the state tribal alliance, who they back. So now we have a proxy war already emerging from this direct war with Iran in Yemen between Saudi and the UAE and the Houthis, backed by Iran, over a very strategic strait that prior to this war was never a consideration.
Right.
It's been
Now it
destabilized this entire region.
And now Lebanon, the United States has committed troops to Lebanon
Well, I didn't know that.
to support the Lebanese armed forces. We're already there. We're already doing it. We've been in Lebanon with special forces conducting advise and assist with the Lebanese armed forces for years. We're already there. So this commitment for additional troops, the U.S. Central Command Commander, Brad Cooper, 2 weeks ago went to Lebanon and told the Chad, the chairman of defense for the Lebanese armed forces, I've got 50,000 troops in the region ready to help. Just let us know what you need. We're already there doing advise and assist. So if that mission grows, we now have U.S. troops fighting on the ground in between the Israeli forces and Hezbollah and the Lebanese armed forces. I mean, that's if in that situation, if I were Hezbollah, I would just duck, hold my weapons, and wait for the U.S., the Lebanese, and the Israelis to shoot each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a tinderbox just waiting to blow up.
It's a tinderbox.
Yeah, not to mention what's going on with Ukraine and Russia.
Well, that's the other piece too, to where now the war with Ukraine will go on even longer as this grinding war of attrition, because a lot of what Ukraine had in success on the battlefield, we've taken for this fight against Iran.
Right.
Patriots, HIMARS missile systems. I mean, just 2 days ago, one of the strikes against Iran was conducted by a HIMARS system, which is an Army rocket launch system. It's tactical.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it from Bahrain, from Manaba, where the U.S. 5th Fleet headquarters is. We've never done that before.
Mm-hmm.
And we not only used the HIMARS to do it, we took that from Ukraine. And we also took the ATACMS missiles and the PRISM missiles directly for this, which are very, very expensive. Mm-hmm. And we have very few of them. Mm-hmm. And we put that in the front line, in the crosshairs. And guess what Iran did? Blew it up.
Really? They didn't cover that on Fox News. Yeah.
We had a HIMARS system that we were operating along with THAAD and Patriot in Kuwait, which we've had for a long. We've been in Kuwait a long time.
Right.
Camp Arif John, Camp Buring, where it deployed from prior to the invasion. We've been there a long time.
Yeah. With your experience, how are we in this war with Iran? How are we faring? Trump says we're winning this war. They have been annihilated.
The bottom line is that we are not winning. We lost the war from day one, not because we don't have a very capable military, but when the executive authority of a nation, in our nation, the president is also the commander-in-chief. When you send your nation to war, a war we started, and you do not have a clear objective to achieve through the military, to fight to do what? You fight war to achieve a certain end state.
Yeah.
So you have leverage
Right.
for a political end state.
Yeah. You have
What was it going in?
Right.
The very next day, we had the late night Donald Trump. He was in Mar-a-Lago at the time.
Right.
They rolled him out of bed, threw on his hat, and he went out there and he said, "Now's the time for the Iranian people to raise up and overthrow their government." And so you're looking at it like, okay, is this regime change? Is that what we're doing? He said we weren't going to do that. He said we weren't going to do that. That sounds like we're doing it.
Yeah.
And then the next day, we heard from Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense. We're not looking to do regime change. Okay, well, the president just said we were, so
Right.
What is it? How has it changed now? We want to destroy their navy. What?
They don't even have a navy. Right.
When has that ever been a thing?
Right.
Like, we want to destroy their navy? Oh, and their Air Force too. What?
They never had Air Force, right?
Well, I'll tell you. They don't have a modern Air Force like ours with Generation 5 fighters.
Right.
But they flew one of their Vietnam Cold War era FH-5s that they refurbished and basically took all the parts they could to make one good jet
Wow.
and flew it into Kuwait against our anti-aircraft measures and successfully struck.
Wow. That's crazy.
They took a jet that's older than my parents,
Right.
equipped it with just enough to get it in, hit targets in Kuwait, and came back and wasn't shot down.
That's some Top Gun
So
stuff
it doesn't
right there.
matter how big their Air Force is. They got enough of it.
Right. How do you see this playing out in Iran? I know that's a lot to ask from you, but how do you because we tried this in Iraq, Afghanistan, this regime change. None of this stuff worked. How do you think this is going to play out in Iran?
Regime change or government change or changing the world politique of a nation based on our standards, vision, and desire never works.
Never
Doesn't
worked.
work. It wouldn't work if someone tried to do it against us.
Right. Different cultures.
It doesn't work. Who in this world wants to be oppressed or subjugated to another nation's standard? Right? Can you imagine if during our revolution, Spain came in, which was an empire at the time, and said, "Oh, y'all want some revolution? Let us help. But when you win it, you have to follow our way."
Right.
Like, get out of here. No, we're going to do it our way.
Right.
So there's a degree to where you can say the people should rise up, yes, but you don't do that by killing the Ayatollah,
That's their pope. That's their pope.
the Pope of the Shia faith.
Of their theocracy, of their government.
That's right.
Millions of people in the streets mourning his death. Yeah.
The funeral for Ayatollah Ali Khamenei this past week was the largest funeral procession in attendance in history of the world.
Wow.
History of the world. The largest one before that was about 15 million for the Premier of India in 1969. This outshadowed that by millions.
But Trump wants them to rise up against that.
Trump wants, well, yes, in doing so by, hey folks.
Oh, that's it right there. Oh, there's, yeah.
Now, that's just in the final burial in Mashhad. So the city of Mashhad was the Ayatollah's birthplace. He was buried there. The funeral procession, the funeral ceremonies was July 4th through July 9th, and he was buried on July 9th.
That's crazy. Trump told them to stand up and rise up against their country. They don't want to rise. This is their culture. Yeah. Why would they rise up against their culture?
Well, see, the thing is, can we look at the government of Iran and say there's a lot of things that the people may want to change within the leadership of the Ayatollah and the IRGC?
Right.
Well, sure. I'm sure there is.
There's a stuff we can change here in America as well.
But you don't do it. Right. You don't do it by the Ayatollah isn't just their president or their premier in the representative government. He is also in that position as the Ayatollah, the supreme leader. But as the Ayatollah, he is the leader of the Shia faith. So as you said, you don't get Catholics to uprise against something by killing the Pope.
Right. That's the logic Trump's using. Thank you.
I mean, just it's
well
not,
said.
That's not how you would do it, no matter what.
Right.
And then on top of it, kill 178 school children.
Right. And then blame Iran for it. They're killing their own people.
For a missile that they never had.
Right.
But the honest truth of that now is that that Tomahawk strike on the evening hours of the 28th of February that struck that school were fired from the USS Peralta, belongs to U.S. Fifth Fleet, and not one but two were fired. I've been on the
They double-tapped it, right?
Yes, but imagine a double tap where, let's say you're conducting close quarters combat and you come into a room and you have your M4, pop, 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 a controlled double tap, controlled pair is what they would call it. This was more than just a double tap or a controlled pair based on the training and response. This was planned and deliberate. You don't plan. So every target that we're hitting in Iran or on the coast isn't some targeteer sitting on a ship somewhere going, oh. There's a joint prioritized targeting list. It's called the JPTL. And that joint prioritized targeting list, whether it's a school, a headquarters, an oil refinery, a ballistic missile launcher, all of those targets have to get pre-approved by the U.S. Central Command commander. And then they're authorized at different levels, 06, 1 star, 2 star, 3 star.
Right.
On the 28th of February, the strikes of that day, as the number one strikes on the Joint Prioritized Targeting List, the IRGC, the Ayatollah, and
That's like the first day of the war started, right?
It was the opening salvo of the U.S. invasion or the U.S. attack.
A lot of people said that was a sacrifice.
So here's what I have been on the sending end and the receiving end of ballistic missiles. When I was in Israel, during the 12-day war between Iran and Israel when they were trading ballistic missiles, and I was in Beersheba when Iran attacked with ballistic missiles. Ballistic missiles are nothing to joke around with. The engine for a ballistic missile to send it as far as it goes, just the warhead blowing up, okay, that's one thing. But when the engine that drove that missile falls out of the sky, it's about the size of a Volkswagen. That can kill you. I was in the streets of Beersheba, these things going off, Iron Dome firing, trying to get to a bomb shelter, and then one of the engines fell and hit the car across the street, and I was like, that was just the engine that propels that missile.
Right.
It wasn't even in the missile. Like, ballistic missiles are a serious game. So having been on the sending end as a ground force commander in special operations, but also on the receiving end from that situation, the target set on the 28th of February was approved by the U.S. Central Command commander, a 4-star admiral, Brad Cooper, to include that school. So when I say that it was done intentionally, people may say, oh, well, our forces could never do that. Okay, well, listen. We have something called the collateral damage estimate. You come to the commander and you say, we know that there's an enemy and they're using this mosque. We know that. Okay. By law, does the enemy's use of this mosque then take away the protective status of that mosque? By the letter of the law, it does. However, we have to consider the collateral damage. Is us destroying this mosque also going to kill 1,000 non-combatants who are there worshiping?
Right.
Is destroying this mosque going to kill hundreds of women and children? Yes. Okay. Is the target we want to hit worth it? It's Osama bin Laden. It's al-Baghdadi. It's the #1 bad guy in the world. Well, based on the collateral damage assessment that the commander assesses, it's like, yes, that strike and the collateral damage therein, hundreds of killed, is worth the value of killing this bad guy. So that calculus, the collateral damage assessment that was done before the strike on the Manab school, was calculated. Now, whether we knew that it was a dry hole, that there wasn't a military capability to it, we did know without a shadow of a doubt that it was a school, that there were children in attendance, that on the day we started this war was a Monday morning equivalent in Iran.
Right.
And we knew children were there, and we did it because our assessment was that the value of that target outweighs the value of the collateral damage.
Okay. So,
And that's just the bottom line.
yeah, so when they asked Trump, and he's like, well, we're investigating what happened, he already knew what happened.
Absolutely.
That was
Yeah.
just all a lie.
Absolutely. And we did it under the premise of thinking that there was some military value to it. And who gave us that intelligence?
That was what, Israel?
Israel.
That's why some people say it was a sacrifice. Yeah.
What better way to draw two nations into war by telling one nation, this nation is an existential threat to your existence. They're 2 weeks away from the bomb.
Right.
Benjamin Netanyahu has said they're 2 weeks away from the bomb since 1994. 1994. That's a long 2 weeks.
Right.
And then how do you then pit the nation against each other by having the nation that's initiating based off an existential threat that doesn't exist, by then crossing every red line at Jump Street?
Yep. Kill a bunch
To
of
where
kids.
now, for Iran, this war for Iran is now existential.
Yeah.
It's
Kill
not
their
something
leader,
they can
kill
walk
their
away
kids.
from. They can't walk away from this.
Right.
Iran will not walk away from this. So the reason I say from the very beginning, in looking at grand strategy, operational design, how does this play out? How does this end? When you go into the woods without a compass, well, you don't know where you're going. So you're going to spend a lot of money walking around the woods. You're going to spend a lot of time and effort trying to figure out how to get to where you're going. But if you just would have sat down and had a compass and a map to say, here's where we're going and how we're going to get there, you may realize, maybe we shouldn't go there.
Yeah. Right.
But
And
when you wade into
yeah,
it,
Yeah. But when you get there, why are you there to begin with?
bingo. That's the most important question. Why? What does it achieve? Can the Strait of Hormuz, right? Never a question before 28 Feb. I mean, that's a new thing. We made that problem.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So if you go back to before the 28th of February,
Mm-hmm.
why? Regime change? I thought, Donald Trump, you told us we're not going to do that anymore.
Right. He promised everybody.
You
He
promised
all
us no more endless wars of regime change or intervention. You promised us. If we have to fight a war because the United States homeland is under threat directly and we have to pick up arms and go fight the bad guys, okay, sure. But you told us, you promised us no more stupid wars like Obama and Biden fought.
Right.
Well, you've taken stupid to a whole new level.
Yeah. He actually has.
And when you look at that and you ask yourself, what's the way out of this?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I look at it like this. Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, these people are like incompetent. And I would go a bit harsher. I would say they're high-functioning retards.
I would agree with that. And I would say they're not uneducated.
Yeah.
I mean, Hegseth went to Yale.
Right.
I mean, Donald Trump has gone to the Wharton School of Business.
They're doing it for Israel. That's why they're doing and I
it.
think they're
That's
doing
why
it.
exactly.
And I think they have a bitter hatred for the Muslim man, woman.
Well, see, now we're kind of getting more to the root of not why because of what we're told,
Right.
but the why because of the reality of it. And when I was in Israel, in Gaza, I didn't take this job with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation.
That's right. You worked you was a security contractor for giving aid to the Gazans, right?
That's right. So
yeah, let's go into that. Yeah.
yeah, paint the picture for that real quick to kind of set how I ended up in Gaza.
Okay.
I retired
25
last
years.
March.
Yeah. Mhm.
The itch of war, getting my gun on, as people would say, I was over that. After Syria and what I saw and what I witnessed in Raqqa, in Mosul, of the fight against ISIS, by that point, that was my 12th combat deployment.
Can I ask you one question? I don't know if this is rude or whatnot, but I just want people watching this to get a sense of what you saw, like as far as death. How many lives you actually saw over your 25 years of service? How many deaths you actually seen of your own soldiers, of other people? Can you put that in a context? And what point do they pull you out of combat? Because 12 combat missions, that's a lot. Yeah, I want people to get a context of what you saw and what you've been through. And what our military service members go through. 12
combat deployments, and there was obviously Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Tajikistan. A lot of people don't even know we were fighting a war in Tajikistan.
I never even heard
Where
of
is Tajikistan?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sounds near Afghanistan.
It borders it to the north.
Okay.
It is one of the stands, one of the Central Asian states. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Them stands.
Yeah. Deductive reasoning, right? Stand. Close to Afghanistan? Yep. Close to Pakistan and Afghanistan and Turkmenistan. All the lands of the people, right?
Right.
So in Tajikistan, we were in Tajikistan fighting the insurgency of the growth of ISIS and then training Afghan fighters to funnel them back into the north of Afghanistan. The southern Philippines, the U.S. fight against the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. That's a deadly fight. We're still there. We're still fighting there. So between the southern Philippines, Tajikistan, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, combat deployments, but then also operational deployments to support operations other than war in Lebanon, in Beirut, in camp in Djibouti, off the Horn of Africa, and seeing so I've seen a lot of both the full spectrum of all-out, large-scale conflict, LSCO, large-scale combat operations, all the way down to low intensity. Now, in adding all that up in terms of the ranges that I've seen in Iraq, we went from a combat fighting force to an occupation force. An occupation force that was wedged in between a sectarian uprising because we removed the power vacuum. We removed the power. And then you had Iran, proxies, the U.S., other nations trying to come in and fill that void. We were in the middle of it. In the 2005-2006 sectarian violence in Iraq, my mission changed from going out and conducting combat patrols to weeks on end taking out trucks, with trailers and picking up bodies to the number of thousands.
Thousands.
Every day in the street, sectarian violence. Solder City, children beheaded. Left on the
Because we
street.
were there.
Because we were there. Because everywhere we went as an American then triggered a response from the opposition to say, oh, well, you're working with them now.
Right.
And I felt so bad at times going through neighborhoods conducting patrols, knowing that that night, everybody in that neighborhood was going to be killed, whether they had anything to do with it or not, simply by association. And we told our leadership this time and time again, like, we're making this worse. Oh, you don't understand. You don't get it. It's like, I think I do. I'm here on the ground. I'm seeing it every single day. My first deployment to Iraq as a lieutenant was an 18-month combat deployment. We got extended in combat because of the surge. And when I hear someone like Pete Hegseth or someone like Donald Trump talk to the American people about war or about things just happen or that's just the way of it, it's infuriating to hear that because they have no idea what they're talking about. So educated, sure, but ignorant, yes. Imbeciles, yes.
High-functioning retards.
High-functioning, retarded, enabled, entitled,
Privileged.
boy children
Yeah.
with a lot of guns and a lot of money.
Not to mention the U.S. soldier deaths that you saw.
So the U.S. soldiers' death, I mean, in Iraq in the early days of fighting, it was very intense. But even all the way through my last combat deployment in Syria, we had soldiers that were lost. In fact, I was there. I was in northeast Syria the day Shannon Kent, Joe Kent's wife, was killed. So I've known Joe for quite a while. But when his wife was killed in an attack, that was in northeast Syria. And it's never something that you get used to, or that gets unless you're a sociopath. I mean, unless you can just take that and be like, oh, just another day. For me, I couldn't. It's like that. It weighs on you. Every death weighs on you. And when I think about the reality of this conflict and how I think this administration cares so little for the lives of American servicemen and women, that is this administration willing to throw Marines, special operators, Rangers, the 82nd Airborne Division into a fight they can't win simply to try to garner some type of leverage over Iran for negotiations in the Strait of Hormuz? Does this administration have the gall to do that? They do.
They do.
And it won't achieve anything. And that's the saddest part, is that it will not achieve anything in the final days to then. Imagine the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Years of fighting. And I was there with the 18th Airborne Corps. Imagine years of fighting an enemy who you were told by your government, these are the bad people. These are the people that allowed 9/11 to happen. This is your sworn enemy for years and years and years and years and years. And then there you are in the middle of the night trying to leave the country that you've been at war with for 20 plus years. And that sworn enemy you're negotiating with to leave. And a lot of people don't realize that on the last night in Afghanistan, before the amazing General Chris Donahue, the last man in Afghanistan, the guy that was recently fired by Pete Hegseth.
Yeah.
This guy commanded Delta Force. He led the withdrawal, which was a total shit sandwich from Afghanistan, but he led it with leadership, and he did the best he could with what he was given. And then he went on to promote and became the commanding general of U.S. Army Europe, the guy that's trying to keep the Ukraine effort together, and Pete Hegseth fires him. So
that's
on
crazy.
The last days in Afghanistan, the last night in Afghanistan, you had ISIS Khorasan, ISIS-K, the Afghan faction offshoot within ISIS in Afghanistan. And you had the Taliban. The Taliban controlled the inner city of Kabul. but they were fighting against ISIS because they're no fans of ISIS either. So the Taliban wanted us gone. They didn't want to stay and fight us anymore. They wanted us gone. They're like, leave. Okay, well, we can't because all of our air defense is gone, all of our protection's gone. We can't fly this C-17 out of here with generals and important people and have it shot out of the sky. That can't be the last image of Afghanistan.
Right.
We need, and the Taliban were like, okay, we'll tell you what, we want you gone. We're willing to help you leave. And we're like, oh, okay. Well, what do you want for it? And they said, nothing's free. All of this military equipment that you're destroying right now, that you're blowing up and stop. Leave it. Leave all of it. The ammunition, the trucks, the helicopters, the weapons, the radios, all the fancy stuff, leave it. Oh, it's a lot of stuff. Well, you want to get out of here alive. Okay. And then as that negotiation was going down, all that, what's that over there? We literally had forklifts lifting pallets of U.S. cash out of the embassy. Millions upon millions of dollars of cold, hardback, $100 bills, cash.
Yeah.
Pallets of money.
That's
And they
crazy.
said, leave that too.
Yeah.
What? That's a lot of money. And they're like, we know. But ain't nothing gets you more in this part of the world than that good old dollar bill. So leave that and leave all this shit. And we're like, oh. And then Chris Donahue literally then had to get on the net, top secret net, with the president, with the Central Command commander at the time, Marine Corps General McKenzie, said, okay, here's what they offered. Okay, leave it and give it to him. All right. So the Taliban, who we once as our sworn enemy,
Right.
that if we don't beat them there, they're going to beat us here.
Right.
Now they have an army. They've got Blackhawks. They've got
They got
Cash.
armored vehicles.
cash.
They got enough cash to make it rain across the entire
Right.
region. They got money for days.
Yeah.
And they won because they survived. On any given day of an operation in Afghanistan fighting a battle with the Taliban, did we kill dozens of them? Oh yeah, always. You know, the death count was always in the hundreds. And it was always kind of odd to me because I'm like, if you take the total of all the death counts of the Taliban over these years, we've killed more people that even exist in Afghanistan altogether.
Yeah. Wow. It's inflated. It's
And I was like, you know when
Yes.
else we did that? In Vietnam,
Right.
right? Against the Viet Cong. We killed 300 of them. Oh, that a boy. Here's your Silver Star.
Right.
We killed none of them. We killed a village.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we negotiated with terrorists for our hides to get out of Afghanistan. And we made them a stronger threat than they ever were before.
And we were there 20 years. It's like we
21
never
years.
never was there. That's the world's strongest military. But they think it's going to work in Iran.
Well, and so if we take that, we don't, and I days before this strike happened that kicked off this war, I texted Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, 4-star Air Force guy. And I was like, are we really going to do this? Seriously? Like, just from a theoretical perspective, like,
Right.
we don't have to look at ancient history. We don't have to go back to the times of the ancient Romans or the times of World War I or World War II.
Right.
We can look at a war that we fought in. We can look at a war that I still have dirt on my boots from to say that this is a bad idea.
Yeah. Right. Horrible idea.
Horrible idea.
You got the whole world's oil in question.
Which was I firmly believe when the question was asked to Pete Hegseth in his Pentagon press briefer, not the next day, but 2 days later after the initial attacks about Iran, and they asked him, do you have any concerns that in order to gain leverage in this conflict, that Iran might close or take control of the Strait of Hormuz? And he was like, they can't. No way. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. How? That's a stupid question. 2 days later, the Strait of Hormuz was under the absolute control of Iran.
Yeah.
And the question was asked, did you see that coming? Of course we did. Of course we saw it. Are you stupid? Of course we knew it was coming. Oh, we did. Did we have any plans to counter it? Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh, what are those plans? I can't tell you. Okay, so there's no plan. There's no plan. There's no plan.
Right. There's no plan.
There's no plan.
You know what it is? It's 4D chess. That's what that is.
4D chess risk. Like it's so many dimensions of chess beyond your understanding, beyond you peons of understanding, that you can't even understand it.
Right.
And then I feel like I still think that like Pete Hegseth thinks that Hormuz is a person. Who's not gay.
We're going to get that Hormuz guy.
We're going to get him.
He keeps shutting down everything.
We're going to get him.
Yeah.
And we're just like I really do think like the president, since I returned from Gaza, because what I witnessed. So I'll go back to the question you had asked me about why, after our fight against ISIS in Syria, Raqqa, one of the largest cities in northeast Syria, north of the Euphrates. So you've got South Syria, which is under the control of the new president who was once the leader of Al-Qaeda.
Right.
True story.
Right.
Can't make that up.
He's good now, though.
Can't make that up.
He's good now, though,
He's
right?
a good guy. Again, we don't negotiate with terrorists. We make them the president. We don't negotiate. We just put them in a position to where we don't have to negotiate. We just tell them what to do. I mean, it made me sick the day that General David Petraeus sat down and interviewed Slawi, the now president of. He was on the number one bad guy.
Yeah. Invite him in the White House.
That we were fighting. He went to the White House.
Yeah.
He went to the White House.
Some bitch was at the White House.
He got invited into the Oval Office.
Yeah.
He had a sleepover.
And you
Trump
look at that
probably
and
bought him Chick-fil-A.
you're like, what? Oh, he wanted to keep it, he wanted to keep it respectful. And
Right.
usually it's McDonald's, but he'll fletch for Chick-fil-A for world leaders.
Yeah, I give you Chick-fil-A.
So he brings this guy over. But anyway, you look at that, northeast Syria, and we're fighting ISIS. And ISIS' strategy at the point was, we're going to fight and retreat, fight and retreat, fight and retreat, attrition. Because when we went into Syria, we didn't do it alone. We couldn't. So we brought in the Kurds, our old buddies, the Kurds, who we've turned our back on more times than you can tell. I mean, it's horrible. Like the Kurds at this point, I'm surprised they not only have not lost our number, they've like blocked us on. They should block us on it. They're like, no, don't call us anymore. You guys always ask, and you leave us high and dry.
Yeah.
So the Kurds go into northeast Syria on our behalf with special forces, 5th Special Forces Group, Joint Special Operations Command. And under the Special Operations Joint Task Force, we were enabling Syrian Democratic Forces, the Kurds. We just renamed them, right? The Kurds, the PKK in Iraq, which is where we got them from, are a terrorist organization. We classify them as such. The Kurdish PKK is classified by the United States, Turkey, Italy, and Japan as a terrorist organization. So we said, hey, y'all want to come into Syria with us? They're like, yeah, sure. We're up for it. How much is in,
What do we get
we're going
out
to
of
get
it?
guns and stuff, right? And we're like, oh yeah, tons of guns. Okay, we're up. And then Turkey was like, oh, no. You're not going to bring the PKK into northeast Syria right on our border. And we're like, no, they're not the PKK. Yes, they are. That guy, General Masloum, is the leader of the PKK. Oh, no. Hey, take that patch off. Look, Syrian Democratic Forces. Huh? Syrian Democratic Forces? That sounds good, huh?
Right, yeah.
Huh? Democracy. It's, like, and then Turkey was like, you got a month.
Right.
And so we go in, and we knew we only had that long. But what ISIS did in Raqqa, as they retreated, anybody and everybody that didn't join them in their retreat, because they wanted to hole up in Baghuz Faghani, the mountains of Baghuz, cliffs. They can hole up there for years. So if you didn't go with them, they killed you. So as we the fighting on the outskirts of Raqqa, and then one day the fighting stops. Just the rockets start flying. Just the front line that ISIS had collapsed. The few fighters they left there to hold the line, like, one guy with a rifle to make us think that the whole army's still there.
Right.
We'd roll up on them, and they're like, yeah, they left like a week ago. And we're like, tricked us. And as we go through Raqqa, they had taken women and hung them from light poles. And if they were with child, the children hanging from the umbilical cord, just left them as a statement. So when you think about the brutality and the viciousness of war, it is something that no one that's ever experienced it firsthand would ever celebrate or relish or want, no matter what, no matter what the reasoning is, no matter what. It's nothing you should want.
Right.
But you should especially not want to go into a war that you cannot win. It's like if you're going into a football game and you're the best team in the NFL, but they say, hey, for the rules for this game, you don't get an end zone. How am I going to score? Well, I don't know. Well, I can't win a game that is designed based on I score in the location that is no longer there. I can't.
Right.
Oh, so I guess you shouldn't do it then. We're doing it anyway. We are in a war of which there is no end zone. There's nothing politically to achieve.
Right.
For example, the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is the Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
That water feature that connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman, that little bit of stretch of land that's the strait that Pete Hegseth thinks is some dude, is created by the tip of Oman and the island of Kashem of Iran.
Their geography protects them, just like our geography protects us.
Bingo. That geography that they have gives them the leverage. It protects them. But even if we were to throw everything in the kitchen sink at the Strait of Hormuz and take it, okay, for how long? You think Iran is just going to give it up?
Right.
And do you think that China and Russia are going to let Iran give it up to put it in America? I mean, Donald Trump for weeks has said, we're taking back the Strait of Hormuz because they want to charge a toll. We can't have that. And everybody's like, yeah. And then Donald Trump says, this was 2 days ago. We have control of the strait and we're charging a $20 fee or a 20% fee. And everybody's like, what? Come on now. You can't do the thing they just told you that you weren't going to do, and that's the reason you're doing this, and then you're going to do the reason for it? Yeah. Come on, man. And he's like, okay, we'll drop the fee. But we have control of it. And then Iran's like, no, you don't. Look, see this ship going through? It's not supposed to? You don't have control. And we're like, okay. So my biggest fear going forward now is, what will the president think is his option to reach a military solution to something that can only be achieved through political negotiation and treaty? It's frightening.
Yes.
Because we're no longer talking about just the U.S. and Iran. We're quickly talking about now Lebanon, Yemen, allies, the UAE. And if things get worse in Yemen, we're going to have Saudi Arabia and the UAE butting heads.
Yeah.
Well, who's in the middle of that? We are. Against Iran. And China and Russia are not going to let Iran fall. And Iran's not going to give up. So when you look at this problem set, the memorandum of understanding, the memorandum of misunderstanding,
right? There you go.
The memorandum of toilet paper was by no means a good deal for the U.S., but it was the best, worst option to get us out. But we blew it. We blew it.
Israel helped too.
That memorandum of misunderstanding is 5 exits back on the highway to hell. We blew past it. Yeah. Now what? How do we get to a negotiation? Because Iran's going to say, well, we still have the strait. and we're still serious about Israel being in Lebanon. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? And we've become so entrenched like a parasite by Israel onto the U.S.,
Right.
where the tentacles have gotten so deep that can we say no to Israel?
I don't think so.
I don't think we can.
No.
We should,
Yeah.
but I don't think we can. Because if you look at, since I got back from Gaza, when I was in Gaza, what I witnessed was unequivocally,
Yeah, let's talk about
without question, war crimes.
that. Yeah. What were you doing in Gaza?
So yeah, back to my retirement. I retired. I was over it. I did not want to do any contracting. I didn't want to do any paramilitary contracting.
Right.
I didn't want to do any government work. I wanted to be as far away from the government as I could. I took a part-time job at Lowe's in the garden center so I could work morning shift.
Good man.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I could go early, work the morning shift, get back home in time to walk take my son to school, spend the rest of the day reading books, hanging out, rebuilding an old motorcycle. I was like, this is what I wanted to do.
Right. Right.
And I get a phone call, May 13th. And when the phone rang, I was like, oh, that's a local number. So I pick it up. Hey, is this Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Aguilar? I was like, it's just Tony now. Oh yeah, you just retired, right? And I was like, yeah, like I retired like a couple weeks ago, man. Like I'm fresh out of the fire.
Right.
Like I still haven't even got my first retirement paycheck yet. I'm that fresh. Like oh well, have you heard of Gaza? Like, yeah, I've heard of it. What about it?
Right.
What does that have to do with me
Right.
on May 13th in North Carolina?
Right.
Well, there's this recruiter was like, oh, I'm with UG Solutions. We're a worldwide crisis management firm. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a bunch of, that's everybody. Like, how do you crisis management? Okay. So what? And I was like, oh, all right. So I've never heard of y'all. Oh yeah, we're up and coming. And I was like, up and coming. So like, when did y'all become a thing? Oh, last month. So y'all just became a company and you're going to go to Gaza, probably the most complex environment on earth right now. Huh. And they're like, well, see, that's the problem. We need people that have your experience. We hired a lot of guns. We hired a lot of gunslingers. But we need people that can help with the operational side. I was like, that's a lot to chew, man. Gaza.
Right. Right.
I don't know. Like, let me think about it. And he said, well, we're leaving this. He called me on a Tuesday. And he said, well, we're leaving Thursday.
Wow.
So you got to have an answer by tomorrow. And I was like, this Thursday? You have an answer by tomorrow? So I did what I always do. I brain mapped it, took up my whiteboard, brought it into the kitchen, sat my wife and son down, and I'm like, all right, here's what I've been offered. And my wife was like, you're stupid. I'm like, hear me out. Hear me out. She's like,
Your wife's an officer too, right?
my wife served 20 years,
Right. Okay.
career, 82nd Airborne, retired officer.
So iron sharpening iron.
She was like, she was like, what are you doing? Think you're going to save the world with your old retired ass?
Yeah.
I was
She's totally your equal.
Oh
20
yeah,
years?
she's vicious.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let's play it out here. Here's what I don't know. A lot. I don't know where we're going. I don't know who we're working for. I don't know the authorities we have. A lot of stuff I don't know. But here's what I know. There is no food going into Gaza. None.
You want to help these people.
There's no food. There's no water.
Right.
And regardless of where you fall politically, I think that there should be a standard in the world to where we don't allow children to starve to death.
Right.
If any standard.
Right.
So then I thought, okay, there's no food going in. That's a fact. This organization is going to provide security to bring in food. Okay? They don't have people in their company architecture that have my level of experience. I've done this before. Like when we evacuated Syria and the humanitarian crisis we had on our hands, the humanitarian crisis in the Philippines, as you're trying to fight an insurgency and there's a tidal wave, a tsunami that hits the coast, and you're like, enemies and foes coming together to help people survive. Like, all right, I'm always like, you know what? You're right. You should. And also update your life insurance. So, I was like, she's like, you should. So I call the guy back. Next day I'm on a plane. On Thursday I'm on a plane. We get to Gaza.
Wow. That's a quick turnaround.
And as soon as we fly into Ben Gvir Airport, and we're traveling on the civilian highway in Israel. And as we're traveling south, parallel to Gaza, just I was like, those are 2,000-pound JDAMs. I know what they sound like. I know what they feel like, and that's them, no doubt. And we're fighting Hamas. I was like, but 2,000-pound bombs. All right. I hadn't been in there though. I hadn't seen it.
Right.
Everything that I had been told, the propaganda, that's all propaganda. I believe that. Like, okay.
I used to too.
So on the 25th of May, I roll into Gaza. We were the first people, besides Israeli fighting forces, besides the Israeli occupation, we were the first people to go in. And we come through the Karim Shalom gate, and I see the most devastating, post-apocalyptic, dystopian scene I have seen in my entire life. And this is compared to places like Mosul, Raqqa, Fallujah. I was sick to my stomach. I was like,
yeah, like whole cities, like everything was like decimated.
I mean, part of that route, part of that is Rafah. That route through there is parts of the route that I traveled.
There's apartments, homes,
schools,
churches,
Christian
clinics.
Churches, Christian churches, mosques. And as I go into Gaza and I look and I take this in, I'm like, this is not a war. This is annihilation.
Yeah.
And
you've seen wars. You know what that looks like.
Yeah. And it makes me shake my head when I hear people that deny this, that say, war has no rules.
Yeah.
Well, it does. And if we as a world, we as a nation, because we're funding a lot of it, normalize that, make that the norm, it's only a matter of time that the United States will once again see itself in a war. Yeah. And do we want our enemies to have that perception of it? Life doesn't matter, rules don't matter, international order doesn't matter,
right?
Geneva Conventions don't matter.
Yeah.
So that is distribution site 4, and that is from David McIntosh, who worked at the sites. He worked for, so underneath the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, there were 2 companies. There was a company called Safe Reach Solutions, and there was a company called UG Solutions. I worked under UG Solutions. He worked for Safe Reach Solutions.
So these are people looking for food.
Those are Palestinians. Let's just say human beings.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And when Dave got there, the bombing they moved further north with their bombing campaign. When I was there, they were bombing right where we were. Like every day going into Gaza, they'd be like, hey, stop all your trucks, don't go any further. Apartment complex gone. Right in front of our eyes. I'm like,
it's not a war, it sounds like demolition.
It's entirely just demolition. And something that I've kind of the look behind the curtain that really made me step back and go, what is going on here? Was we're going into Gaza, and the distribution sites that we created, that we scratched out in amongst the rubble, we're driving through, and they had just saturated, aerial bombed all of that southern part of Rafah. It was fresh debris. smoke still coming out of the piles. And as we're going through there, they had a large bulldozer to push debris so we could go get through there. You couldn't drive through it. They had to make roads. So it's like pushing, stopping, pushing, stopping.
Were they like pushing bodies and everything through there?
As they were doing that, as they're pushing debris out of the way, you can see in this rubble and debris just bodies, body parts. You can hear in the rubble people crying out that are buried in the rubble.
Wow.
Dogs running around and just ripping off pieces of, limbs of children. And you're looking there and you're like, this is not war. This is a genocide. Right before our eyes that we can all see in 4K HD. And it's not propaganda. Is there propaganda on both sides? Yes, there always is.
Right.
But I'm telling you, as an American that served in the American military, that served as a Green Beret, that doesn't have a perspective from sitting behind a desk, but who's been there and seen it and smelled it and touched it and felt it, this is not a war. So when I talk to other people in the UG Solutions, the company, I'm like, yo, that's not okay, right? Like, am I like, I'm not losing my mind, right? Like, that's not okay. And they're like, yeah, man, this is messed up. But hey, we don't have any control over what the Israelis do. It's like, but we do. We do.
It's supposed to be our ally.
It's supposed to be our ally. And
We give them all the shit.
they told us, we give it all to them. And so that was my very first day in Gaza. We started distribution on the 27th, day and a half later. And we had been told prior to going in, you're going to see the Palestinians, and they hate you. They're going to want to kidnap you. They're going to want to kill you. They're going to want to drag your body through the streets like in Iraq with black water. They hate you. And they're all armed, and they're all Hamas. So we go in there amped, like,
Right.
and on the first distribution site, the IDF had a crowd of about 34,000 people who hadn't eaten in weeks, many of which have already died of starvation. You can see them amongst the crowd when they were flying the drone over, and you could see fathers holding their dead children. I saw a mother that came to the site, and she was with a piece of cloth rope dragging a wooden pallet that had her 3 children dead, died of starvation. And the line that they had, they couldn't hold it back, and it broke. And they called us on the radio and said, the crowd's coming. We can't hold them back. 34,000 starving Palestinians.
Looking for food. Yeah.
There was only 20 of us contractors.
Wow.
What are the so 20 to 34,000? I don't even know what the 1 to whatever ratio is.
Right.
So I'm thinking in my head, God, this is where it ends. I went to that flashback in my kitchen a week prior to that when I told my wife I was coming over here, and she was like, that's so stupid. And I sat there and I was like, God, I'm an idiot. Like, this is where it ends.
Right.
This is where it ends. 34,000 people that hate me and want to kill me.
You were thinking the worst.
And I was like, here it comes. And they come through the site over the tops of the barriers, through the barriers. And as they come up to where we are, and this crowd of starving human beings coming by us to get the food, I wasn't greeted with
That's what it looks like, right?
shooting or that was the day. That's the 27th of May.
So that's what we're
That is
looking
the
at.
27th of May, 2025, outside of distribution site number 1 in Tal al Sultan. That's that day
They're all fighting for the same food, huh?
for food. And we're these, 20 American contractors, we're in the middle of that because
Wow.
they came over the site.
Right.
There
You
was
can
no
see,
control.
You can see the buildings in the background is blown up.
Gone. Everything's gone. Everything is gone. And as they came amongst us, we were greeted with, because we had the American flag on us. They knew we were Americans. We were greeted with hugs and kissing our hands and thanking us.
Really?
Not one person was armed. Not so much as a derogatory word thrown our way. No rocks being thrown, no sticks, nothing. I was safer there than I probably would have been in most places in that moment. And as all the food was gone and they started to leave, and you see just the remnants of spilled food parcels, and you see children crawling on their hands and knees picking up little bits of rice and pasta. We didn't give them food they could eat. It was all dried food. And no water. We were directed, no water. Do not give them water.
How do they cook the food?
Exactly, right? That's the question that I asked. So those are the questions that I started to ask. The food that we're giving them, some of these boxes, because what our job was, we'd go to the crossing. When you had these influencers that went over there that showed all the food, and they're like, oh, look at all this food and this and that.
Right.
That was on the Egyptian side. That wasn't in Gaza.
Really?
That was on the Egyptian side of the Rafah crossing at the Karim Shalom Processing Center. On the Egyptian side that Israel would not let in. That food wasn't sitting in Gaza.
Hey, Joe, you got that video I sent you? Can you pull it up? You could probably give us a perspective on this. I think this guy's name's Cam Higby. He's an influencer. He was dressed all up in fatigues, military fatigues, trying to prove that Israel's not starving the Palestinians. That was his whole goal and motivation for filming the video. Is that okay? Go ahead and play it for me.
So coming through right here, that crossing right there, you see that construction on the side there?
Right.
That's not in Gaza. That's across the fence in Egypt. So this road that road right there where they're driving. So here's Egypt, Israel, Mediterranean Sea. I'm kind of orienting it this way for y'all so y'all can kind of see the direction of how that road is going.
Right.
So Egypt, Israel, Gaza, the Egyptian border. That route that they're driving on right now, that's called the Philadelphia Corridor. It's what separates Gaza and the border to Egypt, of which that corridor is entirely controlled by the Israelis. There's checkpoints along it. There's surveillance along it. There's fighting positions. There's tanks. No Palestinian can come anywhere near that. But all of that, you're seeing that construction over there, that's on the Egyptian side where the plan was to house all of the food and this. Because remember, everything that goes into Gaza, everything, vaccinations, formula, food, diapers, water, clothes, fuel for the generators, propane fuel for cooking. Every single thing that a society needs to exist has to come in from outside, either through Israel or Egypt. But the Egyptian crossing was shut off. So where they're going through right now, I crossed through that uncountable amounts of times in just the 2 months I was there. That's Karim Shalom. And that crossing through there takes you along the Philadelphia corridor. And what's to the left, that's the Egyptian side. So what they did with the influencers was they took them through the Karim Shalom crossing point, drove them through the gate to the Egyptian side, and had them do all their photos there, showing all that food. And what they don't tell you is that that's the Egyptian side, where Israel won't allow anything to come in. But a lot of the food that they're showing had been sitting there so long that a lot of it is already rancid and rotten.
Wow.
You can't leave flour out in the elements for days and weeks on end. It gets mites. It gets infested. So a couple things that I noticed on the very first day of distribution. A lot of this food that we're bringing in these boxes is food that has been spoiled, ransacked, because a lot of the Israeli soldiers who are conscripts, they don't get paid a lot of money. They would take some of the food to feed themselves.
That's crazy.
And so after that first day, we leave Gaza, we come on back to the operations center in Karim Shalom, the joint operations center that UG Solutions had set up with the Israelis. And I was like, okay, we're giving them food that requires water to make. That's not a good idea. But in addition to that, we're not giving them any water. None whatsoever.
Why no water? I mean, you got the flour, you got lentils, why no water? This is the most important. Well,
it was intentional.
Yeah, you can kill them in a couple of days with no water.
Because, and then the reasoning for that, the justification they gave to that was we, Israel, we pump the water in. I was like, bullshit. You may say you do. I don't believe it.
Did you ever see it?
Well, that's what. So part of this, some of the things that I did was I took it. I wanted to verify some of these things. So I was like, all right, as a planner in this operation, I need to understand how many gallons of water you're pumping in, where it is, because if it's just a hose coming out of the ground, and you expect people to go over there with a little bucket, how is that like? Is there a process for that? So I went to these pumping stations, dry as a bone. Wasn't a drop of water coming in at all from Israel. And so I took pictures of that, and I came back to the people that I worked for, and I said, okay, whether it's incompetence, whether it's we failed to plan, whatever the case is, there's no water going in. And we're giving them food that requires water to make, that they can't eat elsewise.
Right, it's just smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors.
Potentially starving these people to death.
And then I was told, hey, drop it about the water. We're not going to take water in. And I was like, oh, but check it out. Check it out. I know y'all are about the bottom dollar. It's a business. I get it. So check it out. With this many trucks, with this much aid, now the math with water's a lot heavier. So what you can get with one truck of water, you can get the equivalent of 3 trucks of food. Okay. It doesn't matter if you're giving them 5 trucks of food. If you're not giving them any water.
Right.
So when I brought that plan, like, hey, we can do 4 in 1. At least we're getting some water in. And maybe we can contract a water truck, like not just a truck with bottles of water, but an actual water truck. Pull it in.
Right.
It has pumps and spigots. They can fill their water. It's something. Nope, we're not doing it. And I was like, what? Because it's a bad idea, or because like do you want a different plan? Like, what are my constraints? What's my left and right limit? And eventually, I was like, if I'm going to understand operations in terms of the convoys, the number of trucks, drivers' hours, because like all the drivers were contracted from Estonia and Georgia, Georgia the country. So it was like it had to, they were on limited hours. So I was like, all this has to be meticulously planned. Right. This is an orchestra. Okay, here's the contract. Go through it, and those are your left and right limits. Okay. This is a contract between the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and the Israeli government. I thought we were operating independently.
Right.
I thought the contract was between the G8, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and us, like UG Solutions, Safe Reach Solutions. This contract is dictated to where the Israeli military is our client. We work for them.
Right. It's crazy.
That's not independent, unilateral, or neutral. We can't do this. We cannot do this. And oh, by the way, putting food in a location that requires non-combatants to cross through an active combat zone, the front line, that's a war crime. No, it's not. I'm like, it is. Like, it's black and white. Well, Israel doesn't have to abide by that. I'm like, Israel is a signator to the 4th Protocol of the Geneva Convention, 1952. They are beholden to it. So that's a war crime. That's a war crime. That's a war crime. Pretty sure that's a war crime. That may not be a war crime, but that's really fucked up. Like all of these things. So at one point, one of the distribution points we had was decided that we were going to shut it down and that the Israeli military was going to take it over to put in an artillery location to start artillery into northern Gaza. They were going to push the offensive north. That's about the time that Dave McIntosh got there. So when we had to give them this site, I was taken with some of the other leaders to the Southern Command headquarters of the IDF in Beersheba. And we go into the headquarters, like a military operational headquarters, maps everywhere, people, And as I'm looking at the map with our location, okay, over the next 24 hours, you bring in this, we'll take out that, we'll change this, we'll change that. We'll account for, 100% accountability of men, weapons, and equipment, transfer it to you, and then, then it's yours. And as I'm sitting there, we're going through all this, there's a big map on the wall that looked like a map you would see in a city planner's office of like this, the layout of the city, future plans for the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at it, and it's Gaza, but it's not the Gaza that I know. It was the Elon Musk Technical Park,
Really?
and the Ben Gavir Canal, golf courses, condominiums.
What?
Yeah, it's called, and it actually has a name. It's called Project Sunrise. That Jared Kushner and others funded. So I'm looking at that and I'm like,
Jared Kushner.
oh yeah. Yeah, there's an interview with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, the president's special envoy, on 60 Minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the interviewer is asking Steve Witkoff about this whole plan to rebuild Gaza. And he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a technical park, we're gonna have job opportunities, we're gonna have a real estate for premium prices, and we're gonna have this and we're gonna have that. And he's like, oh, it's great. And they're like, does this all just come about recently?
Is this it?
Yeah, that's it. That is the map that was on the wall in the Southern Command headquarters in Beersheba. That plan, Project Sunrise, the master plan to the phased reconstruction. So when I saw that is it. That is the exact by phase. And you see phase 1 alpha is in Rafah, where we were. But
That's what
Project
they want to
Sunrise,
build.
That's what they want to build in Gaza.
But it's for Israelis only,
How many
right?
Palestinians do you think are going to be allowed back in to live in that?
That
Working
is.
the fucking beast to get in there.
So what really made me in that moment of like in Scooby-Doo at the end when they take the mask off and they're like, oh, it was you the whole time.
Right.
That moment for me of like, oh, it was us the whole time.
Mhm.
We did it.
Right.
Was I was looking at that plan on their wall, that exact diagram with the Project Sunrise. And I was looking at it, I'm like, that's some diabolical shit right there.
Yeah. It's evil.
We're gonna rebuild golf courses and Rivieras and condominiums.
But it's just for Israelis.
It would only be for Israelis and Qataris and Kuwaitis. Big money.
The rich people.
But I
Because
looked
that
at
is prime real estate, guys. That's
Beautiful.
probably the best
Oh my God.
real
It's some
estate
of
in the
the-
entire world.
Yes, in terms of natural resources, in terms of what also interests the United States, what's in the phase 1 part of the plan in the southern part of Gaza, kind of where the boot is in Gaza down there with the border with Egypt, where the first phase of phase one alpha, see that orange triangle?
Right.
Karim Shalom? That's that picture you saw of that influencer driving through that gate. That's 1 alpha. To build that out
Oh,
first.
that's the construction going on.
Yes. To stage everything to bring it in from Egypt. Not food, construction equipment, materials, building supplies.
Hey, can you play a little bit of that video? I want to get his perspective on this.
Because he says like there's no one starving in Gaza. That's his whole point.
Yeah. Go ahead and play it from there. You got headphones? Oh.
Are these guys the UN guys?
He needs headphones, Joe.
I can read the.
Oh, he's reading the subtitle.
So in that to orient the orange triangle on that 1 alpha is that
Pallets and
where they're
pallets of
driving
food.
through. That they're taking pictures of.
Going nowhere.
That's on the Egyptian side.
Wow, they wouldn't
That's
get that.
not in
They
Gaza.
wouldn't get that,
No food in Gaza.
Palestinian workers,
Look at all that.
just working for
He
no
keeps
gas.
saying this is Gaza.
So much food
No.
in Gaza.
Absolutely not.
So
That's
here
not
we
even.
are in the Gaza Strip
That's
where
not
there's
even
allegedly
looking at it from
no
the
food
side
aid,
in
level 5
Gaza.
starvation,
That's
famine.
from the
There's no food in the
Israeli
Gaza
side.
Strip.
The
What's all- I
Israelis
don't
weren't
know
going to
what all
let
this
this fool into
Looks like
Gaza.
Yeah.
Smells like food.
He's saying that this is Gaza's. This
no.
debunks all
He's
the lies.
saying that to everybody
Right.
because who knows the difference?
Right.
Where he was driving
Tons
in
of
that the
food.
first part of that video, that was in Israel. As he came up to that gate, he was driving into where you saw on that
Right.
triangle is phase 1 alpha.
Endless.
That's
Endless
between
amounts of
the
food.
Egyptian side and between
It's not even just this
that
area.
part that's
Over
still
here, look at this. We
considered
have
controlled and is
flour
Israel.
here. Flour.
It's owned by an Israeli
This over
family,
here.
actually.
Really.
Whatever allows them to make the most money. It's owned by a family.
Right. Yeah, but he was saying that was all food for Gaza, and that was on Egypt.
Well, the thing is that a lot of that food was intended
Intended, right?
until all aid was cut off. But that food, once they cut it off, all of that food that they can just go get wasn't in Gaza. Wasn't sitting in a warehouse in Gaza and just Hamas wouldn't let them have it.
Right.
You could feed
That's in Egypt.
so many people chickpeas.
That
You could feed
that
so many
spot, that
people with the
all
stuff
of
we
that
have
right
here.
there, where you see that asphalt laid and everything, that is in Karim Shalom on the Egyptian side of that orange triangle that you saw in Phase 1 Alpha of Project Sunrise.
And this
That's
whole
exactly where that is,
and
right
this-
there.
Yeah, and this influencer is just putting out wolfly
It's all
lying and
lies.
propaganda.
Well, now, either
Maybe they lied to him.
maybe they lied to him, but anybody, if you have your smartphone and you're looking at it, you can be like, okay, I'm not in Gaza.
Right.
So either he's
So
an
this
idiot
dude is so stupid he didn't know he was in
and
Gaza.
he took what he
wasn't in
was
Gaza.
told, or he knows that they weren't. But
Right.
that's the game. That's the shtick. That's the propaganda. Hey, here I am in Gaza. Look at all this food. You're not in that could have been shot in a sound studio in L.A.
Right.
You're not in Gaza. But who would know the difference?
Right.
I wouldn't have known the difference until I was. The reason I can see that and I know is because I drove the Philadelphia corridor from Israel through Karim Shalom all the way to Tel El Sultan to the coast, and everything up in between there, between Tel El Sultan, Mawasi, and Rafah, and then all the way up into Netzarim and Gaza City. All of that, I drove on that, through it, uncountable amounts of times.
How long were you out there?
So I was on the ground there for 46 days until I resigned. And then the 12-day war started, and then I was stuck. So I resigned. I was like, hey, I can't be a part of this anymore. I'm out. And it was like, well, I guess I'm not leaving anytime soon. So I holed up. I hid. I hid in Jerusalem because they were so they were, I wouldn't say they were coming down on me hard. They were concerned
About what you saw.
because of not only of what I saw, but I also had a lot of photographs and videos because as the operations guy, I would come back from a site and I'd be like, hey, we did distribution. We need to set it up. Like the trucks need to come in from a different direction. We need to set it up in a different way. If all the people coming to the site are coming from here, why would we put the food over here? Like, let's have a better process. And they were constantly like, oh, so I was like, I'm going to start taking pictures and videos so y'all see it on the ground to see what I'm conveying. So I started doing that. Started capturing a lot of the reality of what was happening. And then when I resigned, they offered me almost double my pay to stay. They offered me to bump my pay up to almost $2,000 a day. And then the war started. Everything was closed. You couldn't get out of Israel. You couldn't fly out of Ben Gvir. You couldn't cross the borders. Everything was locked down. So I went east to Jerusalem to be close to the Jordanian border, so as soon as the borders opened, I could get out. I got home through Jordan. I didn't leave out of Israel. I got home through Jordan and then Qatar. So yeah, the biggest weapon is information. The reason they don't allow actual credible Western media.
Yeah. There's no journalist in there. There's no freedom of speech there. There's
Any
nothing.
journalists that were in Gaza are now dead. Hundreds of journalists have been specifically targeted and killed in Gaza. Not because they posed any threat. It's because they don't want that information to get out. Bill Hemmer, Fox News, shortly after the declaration of the ceasefire, Israel allowed some Western media, CNN, Fox, to go in to get a look at where these sites had been. Bill Hemmer is in there, and the Israelis start opening fire on crowds of Palestinians. Bill Hemmer is like ducking for cover, taking cover behind a barrier
Why were they shooting at the Palestinians?
because they were there.
They were there to get food, though, right?
Yeah.
And they just start shooting them?
Those images that you see, the video that Dave McIntosh took, where you
Okay.
see them running,
You got that, Joe?
as they're running to these sites, here's why it kind of turns into almost like
Oh, what's this?
This is them like lining up to get the food, and that's Cam Higby. Freaking.
This is Cam Higby's video?
No, it's not. It's like it's proving him wrong. Like he's
Right.
saying that there's no starving Palestinians. Like what is this? What is this?
Yeah.
I can get up that other
All right.
one though.
I mean, it sounds like to me when you were like there giving the food, wasn't that dangerous for you? Were you ever attacked?
Well, so that,
Oh, here it is.
so yeah, so that right there,
They're just shooting at him.
that is from David McIntosh's perspective in one of the guard towers on the site, looking out. He's looking out into Gaza, and that's Palestinians coming to the site because this is how the Israelis would control it. They would go into a neighborhood the night before, loudspeakers and everything, and be like, hey, everybody has to evacuate. And the Palestinians that are there is like, I don't want to leave my home. Well, we're going to give you food tomorrow at this site. So if you want food, you got to be here at this intersection, this road. It was the Al Rashid intersection, was usually the convergence point. You have to be here at this time because once we open the site, first come, first serve, food's gone. The average time for food to last on a distribution site was about 8 minutes and 15 seconds. The fastest I've seen it go was about 6 minutes.
Just gone.
Gone.
Pallets and pallets of food.
Pallet, like I don't know if you've ever seen that movie Lord of War with when he has that plane and he flies it into the Congo and Interpol's about to catch him. So he calls the locals to come in and they de-strip the plane and leave. That was like they would take the pallets, the boxes, anything and everything that wasn't connected to the ground, they would take it. And that would happen so fast where, women and children are getting nothing. I mean, it's a fight for survival. And they would. So kind of two things that kind of took what I was seeing and then behind the curtain as to the why. One of which being the Project Sunrise revelation that I saw. And I'll tell you that and you're going to be like, what? So when the sites would be opened and the IDF would release thousands at a time, what you saw there was the moment the IDF released, the chow call, ding, 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 sites open. What you saw there is the moment that the line was let free and they're rushing to the sites. Now, the IDF had procedures to where if those Palestinians that are rushing to the site go anywhere too far left or too far right, they can open fire. Well, the Israelis wouldn't indicate where these lanes were on the ground. I mean, there's video that I have where I was on the berm at one of the sites lying down because the IDFs just started opening fire. It was coming into our site. We were getting ricochet and hits. Like we're like, hey, we're getting shot at. It's not Hamas because it's not coming from there. It's coming from behind us. What are y'all doing?
Right.
Machine gun fire, tank fire. I mean, to see in the middle of the night, not in the middle of the night, but like 4 a.m, to see a tank round from a Markava tank fly over like a few feet over your head, and you're like, oh shit, where did that come from?
This is even different footage.
You got that green light and you have the red light.
Green light. Green light.
And that's why people have compared it to the Squid Game. It really is.
And so what they would do is they would release the site, and they'd come running, and at different lines, the IDF at different phase lines, the IDF would then open fire, crossfire.
If there's outside the barriers, which the Palestinians had no idea.
So if they went outside of the boundary, they'd get killed immediately. Just kill them. Within the boundary as they were going, in order to control the flow of how many people were coming, if they wanted like, okay, there's 9,000 people were released, but we can only take 1,000 at a time, they would then start shooting at the crowd as almost like a stop sign. Like, stop, y'all
Squid
stop,
Games.
y'all stop, y'all can go through, y'all stop. Well, imagine if you're a young child and you're standing in a field of debris where you can't even see over it. You don't know who's shooting at you. You don't know where it's coming from. Well, you know who's shooting at you, but you don't know where it's coming from. And you see people panicking, and you're a small child. What do? You're like, oh, where do I go? And they were targeting children. So surgeons in the Nasser Hospital, which is in that same area of Rafah, the Nasser Hospital, which at the time was one of the only ones left standing. It's been blown up since. Doctors, Americans, Europeans, surgeons, volunteering in there to work in these hospitals had testimony and reports that corroborated to the days that we had distribution going, that corroborated to the witnesses such as myself and Dave McIntosh and others that saw that, gave testimony that children were being brought into the hospital with, 10 of them being shot in the groin, 10 of them being shot in the upper body, 10 of them being shot in like the head. And one of the IDF soldiers, after he left Gaza and had a total mental breakdown for what he had done, came clean with it and said, yeah, we basically assigned a different spot on different days to shoot at as sport. So like, let's see how many people you can hit, here. And they made a sport out of it. So when you look at that level of depravity and the complete deviation from human decency vis-a-vis international law, international standards, Geneva Convention, or just basic human decency, right?
Right.
And you see a departure from that, that becomes normalized. And then that becomes the way of war.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a world that any of us want to live in. I certainly don't.
And this is the government that's giving Trump intelligence about Iran.
This is the same government that has given the intelligence on the Manab Girls' School was a military headquarters, which it was not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was not. It wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fact. If we thought it was, and we struck it deliberately because we thought that the collateral damage was worth the risk of the loss of life, we did so under pretenses that were not true.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that it was an accident, no, it was intentional. But then kind of going back to that moment where it was just kind of like, ooh, this is bad. That Project Sunrise, that plan, that map, because I was looking at it. Because it was just as you saw it now, and you're like, what? Is that real? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's real. It's real. Yeah. I was looking at it, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, master design plan. I'm like, okay, well, here's Kareem Shalom. Here's that explains the construction they're doing there.
Right.
Here's, okay, where their phase one alpha into phase 1B is happening. Well, that's where we are. That's where we were at the time in southern Rafah. But as I'm looking at it, I'm like,
it's going to be crazy.
I was like, did they come up with this recently? I was like,
it's going to be crazy if a Trump Tower is built there. He put up this AI meme of him on the beach.
Trump Tower?
Netanyahu.
There is already, as part of that plan in Project Sunrise, in that rendering you saw, that AI 3D rendering of this beautiful city,
Right. Mm-hmm.
there's going to be a Trump golf course that is in the plans. Who is the president? Who is the lifelong self-appointed president of the Board of Peace, which is the organization that will oversee this plan? It's Donald Trump. Who's the vice president and chair? Jared Kushner. How much money did you, if you're a nation and you wanted to partake in this Board of Peace, how much was
it? What was it? $1 billion?
$1 billion. That's not even, that sounds something off of like a bad villain movie, right? Like $1 billion. It's
Lex
true.
Luthor.
Lex Luthor, right? Yeah. Or the guy on Austin Powers, the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
$1 billion. Like it's
kind-
but it's true.
It's sick.
But then as I looked at that on that day, June 8th, I'm standing there. We're in this planning meeting. I look at that. I'm like, God, that is some diabolical shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at it. The date on that, the date that plan, that rendering of the phase 1 alpha through phase 3 had been done, and the Project Sunrise, 2021.
Really?
2021. 2 years before October 7th.
That is nuts.
So when you look at that and you're like, okay, we now know what came first, the chicken or the egg. In this case, the egg came first, long before the chicken hatched. So was the chicken hatching on October 7th designed to have reason to implement this?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the convenience of coincidence coming together? No.
Can't be. It's just
No.
their master plan. And what happened on October 7th was horrible.
Yeah. But when you look at it and you have a plan, 2 years before, it's like, if you and, Dad's driving the car and two kids are in the back picking on each other on a road trip.
Mm-hmm.
And one kid's like, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you.
Mm-hmm.
And then dad hits a bump and now the fight breaks out. And dad's like, all right, stop the car, get out. Well, imagine if the kid that did that took the poke planned the route that the dad's driving on, who knew 2 years ahead of time there'd be a speed bump
Right.
and that you're going to hit it.
Right.
2 years ahead of time.
Right.
You can't then say that at that moment that's just a singularity.
Right.
So that whole plan to rebuild Gaza under the Riviera, under Project Sunrise, was planned out with donors contributing starting in 2021.
Trump's always saying it. We're going to make a lot of money.
People will make a lot of money. People are making a lot of money. Right now, as we speak, what's happening in all of that area of Gaza that's now completely occupied, which is now about 87% of the entirety of Gaza is occupied. Well, there's construction companies going in there getting rid of all that debris. They're getting paid a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And what they're finding is bodies.
Wow.
To where they have to stop what they're doing so the IDF can come in, secure the area, get out, figure out what to do, and then say, okay, now you can come back in and remove the rest of the debris. But they're, we're now, something I said on one of my first interviews when I came back from Gaza was that when the world actually sees the truth, beyond drone footage, beyond the influencer media footage, beyond what's in mainstream news, when the world actually sees the unadulterated truth, it will bring us to our knees as a civilization to think that this happened right in front of us.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine all of the footage we see from World War II and the atrocities of the Nazis. And you look at that and you're saying, it makes you sick.
Yeah.
Well, those same images, those same scenes, and I even saw some of those same images of shallow graves where children were killed and buried. All of that's now being discovered outside of GHF distribution site 1, the primary site in Tal al-Sultan. After October 10th, the GHF left, just got out of Gaza, and poof, like they were never there. GH what? GHU? Oh, we don't know what I'm talking about. The UN and others have gone in to these sites and have found outside of the site shallow graves of hundreds, which is exactly what we saw.
Right.
So, I mean, when I take how the world and how the United States have normalized and allowed this to happen, I now fear the phase of war that we're entering with Iran because we have now entered unlimited war.
Right.
Not a total war yet. Not the height of World War II total war, but we have entered a phase of unlimited war to where treaties, diplomacy, international agreements, rules and laws don't matter.
Yeah. Do you think there's a possibility the next World War will be the United States and Israel against China? China.
I certainly think that that if you look to the beginning of World War I, the beginning of World War II, going into both those conflicts, we didn't call them world wars. We saw them as that's a regional conflict.
Right.
That will never spill up. What does two former European kingdoms fighting over a piece of land and who should be the next czar have anything to do with America? We'll never be involved in that.
Right.
World War II. Okay, the Germans are at it again. We've already done this before. We'll stop them at the Maginot Line, put them in their place, and this time we mean business. And then the Germans blew past the Maginot Line and took all of France and said, we're coming. And then America got involved. So to look at this right now, where America is directly involved, America's like the France of the, actually, no, we started it. So we're like Germany of World War II.
We're Germany.
We started it. We started it.
Right. That's crazy. We're Germany this time.
We're Germany this time. Like the Germans are looking at this and being like, whew, too much.
Right.
A girls' school? Like, come on. So when you look at that in terms of, is Iran a powerful nation? Yes. Are they the superpower? No. But they're a powerful nation, and they've got powerful friends.
Right.
And the United States, to where now we're already seeing the direct second and third order regional spillover in Yemen, in Saudi Arabia, in the UAE, in Jordan, in Kuwait, in Iraq. The fighting now in Iraq between the Kurds and the newly elected fragile Iraqi government, where they just, free and fair elections. The person, Maliki, that they elected in Iraq, Donald Trump said, nope, I don't want him. And Iraq was like, we voted for him. We had a free and fair democratic election. And Trump was like, nope, I don't want that guy. I want this guy, who happens to be a former magnate billionaire. So, and he had him in the White House 2 days ago.
Right.
So in Iraq, we're seeing the spillover. We're seeing spillover already in Western Iran between the Kurds in Iran. We're seeing the spillover in Lebanon. That is a direct correlation to this war because of the conditions that Iran put to end the war. Get out of Lebanon. Israel gets out of Lebanon, we'll sign your MOU. You can have the Strait of Hormuz. We can't do it. We can't turn our back to Israel.
Do you think this falls on the shoulders of Trump?
Yes, because he knew of the possibilities of these types of wars, but he promised all of us that we wouldn't do this.
He ran on that.
He ran on that. He promised I voted for Trump.
Right, I did too, yeah.
He promised us no more endless wars.
Yeah, it's one thing to say we got it wrong about Trump, and he said he wasn't going to start any new wars. He attacked us. Our friends attacked us. No, he's in a 47-year war. But to attack a person like you with your credibility and what you've done for this country, they can't attack you because you know the deal.
And the thing is, in looking at that, having been someone that has served in these endless wars, Iraq and Afghanistan and these other wars. I mean, Afghanistan ended because we surrendered. We left. We retreated. How is this war with Iran going to end? It's not going to end in any type of manner that the United States benefits or comes out on top. But the fear is that for anyone that says, going all the way back to February, a couple days, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I looked at that in the beginning. I was like, no, we signed up we're in this for the long haul. And the thing is,
and you knew that right then and there.
right from the beginning, looking at it. It's like, again, when you go into the woods without a compass, when you go into the Super Bowl and you're not afforded an end zone, that you have no way to win. You don't know where you're going. And when you step into something, it doesn't matter how good you are. Like to all of my brothers and sisters and veterans and the America's sons and daughters and mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts and family that are serving in uniform, from the Marines to the Navy to the Air Force to the Army, everything in between, they're being set up to fail because we're fighting a war that has a phantom of an objective. What's the objective?
Right.
One day it's their Navy. One day it's their Air Force. One day it's the Strait of Hormuz. One day it's regime change. One day it's their missiles. One day it's the nuclear talk. Right. I mean, the whole I thought we went into this whole war was about the nukes. We haven't heard the word nuclear in weeks.
Right.
It's like we've lost the plot.
That first operation said we destroyed their nuclear capabilities. Then we start bombing.
Midnight Hammer?
Then we start bombing them 4 months later.
Yeah, we said, I remember that press conference when we were told by everybody that Midnight Hammer was overwhelming success, and we obliterated any capability they had. And then now, when we're back at it again, well, I thought, hey, in the press room, hey, I got a question. Yes. I thought Midnight Hammer obliterated their nuclear capability. Why are we back in for the nuclear capability? Oh, we're going to re-obliterate it. What? I'm going to
Yeah,
re-obliterate it.
These people build fast.
Yeah, they're, whew.
They're good.
See, they're always on a 2-week cycle.
Yeah.
2 weeks away.
A couple
2 weeks
days
away.
ago, New York Post made a post, said, look, I think they discovered more nuclear missiles in Iran.
Nuclear sites where they rebuild
where they
nuclear
manufacture.
program. Yeah, New York Post posted that.
Put that up.
They put up this is the image that the military believes, the U.S. government believes they're making bombs again, nuclear bombs.
Well,
we left the comment.
it's the perfect scapegoat. It's the perfect excuse. It's the perfect pretense. In the, through the Cold War, all you had to do was slap the term communist on somebody, and it didn't matter. They're now the enemy. And then it was anybody that's a commie or a Soviet sympathizer.
Republicans are doing that a lot right now, calling everybody a communist right now.
Or a domestic terrorist. Domestic terror. And they called Tucker Carlson domestic terrorist.
Right.
Everybody's a domestic terrorist now. If you speak out against it, it's like, 1950s, you speak out, you're a communist. What? I'm a communist. I'm true blue, red, white, and blue American. No, you're a communist. Ruin your life.
Right.
Or, even have you get you killed. And then it turned it, since 2001, what is the title that you slap on something if you want guaranteed support from everybody to say they're bad? You call them a terrorist.
Yep.
Terrorist.
Traitor. Called him a
Terrorist.
traitor.
Look at them, terrorist.
Yeah.
See those terrorists? Venezuela. Fishermen, the coast of Venezuela.
Right.
Fentanyl doesn't come from Venezuela.
Yeah, what was that all
Terrorists.
about those boats? Do you have any insight on that?
Well, I mean, so
I used to believe it. I was
Venezuela.
so stupid.
but why Venezuela, right?
Right. They
Why
wanted that oil.
Venezuela? Venezuela is a part of OPEC. The United States, in order to continue to prop up the petrodollar, looking at how OPEC is falling apart, the UAE, on May 1st, the UAE left OPEC. That's a
I didn't know that.
Yes, the UAE left OPEC. So, looking at Venezuela, what do you do to make them the common enemy? Hey, everybody,
Right.
it's where the drugs come from. And he's like, oh yeah,
Narco terrorist.
narco terrorists. Well, for the narco that's killing most Americans, it's not coming out of Venezuela.
It's Mexico.
Well, it's Mexico, and then it's or produced here. Fentanyl is a pharmaceutical drug.
Right.
Fentanyl doesn't grow in the trees of in the jungles of Colombia, or you don't make it with leftover chemicals under your sink like meth.
Not a
it is
Vincent Whaler.
pharmaceutical grade, high end, manufactured cosmetic drug. It ain't coming out of Venezuela, but narco terror, blow them up, kill them.
Right.
And then we so happen, like I've mentioned this a couple days ago, talking to my wife, like we took the president out of a sovereign country. We flew in the middle of the night, nabbed him up, killed all his security, threw him on a helicopter, flew him to New York, and perp walked him in front of the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Anybody know what happened to him? Has anybody heard anything?
I haven't heard
Is
anything.
the guy alive?
Yeah.
Is he
With
going
his
to get a
wife.
trial? With his
Him and
wife.
yeah.
What's happening?
Well, Trump
doing-
he's made a lot of firsts. He kidnapped a president and his wife, and he killed a religious leader equivalent to their pope. I mean, no other presidents did anything even remotely close to this. It's almost like we are the terrorist.
So it pains me to say it, and when I say it, people are like, "Oh my God!" But yeah, we're the terrorists. Like what the United States, as a nation, as a government, should realize is that the world, post-Cold War, military-industrial growth, the world is changing. It doesn't matter how many $1-million hypersonic interceptors we make. Someone that's willing can defeat that with $30,000 drones off the shelf that they 3D print. I mean, Iran's defeated us militarily with drones. So to think about the world as a hegemon, the U.S., the Soviet Union. Well, the Soviet Union fell, and then it's the U.S. China's creeping up. Better put them in check. Oh, wait, Iran? They're making friends with people? We got to combat that. I think where the United States should put its energy and focusing on becoming is realizing that there will no longer be the hegemon, the superpower, that it's going to be a world of shared power. And we'd be much better off as a nation and for our future, for the next generation of our our kids and grandkids that are one day going to feel the pain of this.
Right.
The real pain of this is that perhaps we'd look at ways to normalize diplomatic relations and realize that, there's some things that we can change through diplomacy. There's some things that we're never going to change. There's some things that may at times require war, but this is certainly not it. And then how do we normalize relations with nations like Iran, Pakistan, Russia, China? And I don't mean best friends, kumbaya, we all agree.
Right.
But looking at areas like, okay, China, man, they would be a great partner. Why don't we partner? They're communists. Okay. Are they like?
Meanwhile, Trump's got hotels over there.
Yes, they're not that communist. They're not too communist for a McDonald's,
Right.
or a Trump Tower. Although those guys, they're terrorists.
Right.
There's a hotel with your name on it in that country. Oh,
Right.
well, that's different. That's different.
You invite him into the White House.
You invited him to the White House.
So how is this allowed to go on? Is there any country that's going to ever take action against us to make us feel the pain?
Well, yes, I think that we're feeling a lot of that pain in the Levant, Southwest Asia, and the Middle East right now. I think that our media covers a lot of it up, but I think we have taken tremendous losses in the region to our basing, to our resources, personnel. I think that the losses we've incurred from this are far greater than what our government and Western media is telling us.
Is there additional losses of life that they're just not reporting, or?
Absolutely. I think that so I was just looking at this the other day, the Department of Defense casualty tracker, where they track every casualty. And the wounded is up near close to 500.
Oh, really? 500 military.
And when you consider within that the time window or the language that the Department of Defense can use as to who they classify as a casualty who's wounded in action or killed in action, I think that far more of that wounded in action number is our service members that have been killed. And I think that the totality of that number is much higher than what we're being told. When you think about in Kuwait, in the opening days of this, when Iran struck Kuwait with hypersonic missiles that destroyed large portions of U.S. bases, there's more than 6 casualties.
Right.
I mean,
Do you think they were still stuck at 12? Yeah, so why would they? Are they lying about that?
I firmly believe
They lied about bombing the school
that the
girls.
administration is lying because the disinformation and the misinformation is not an accident. There are far more casualties that we have incurred from this, whether it be the USS Ford, the USS, the various aircraft carrier strike groups that we have out at sea. We know that Iran has struck and fired back, and they haven't missed all of their shots.
Right.
And when you consider the damage and the toll that strikes of that nature, from ballistic strikes or those drone strikes or anti-ship missile strikes, the losses we've incurred are far higher than we're being told. But it's quickly becoming clear to the administration that this is a very unpopular war, very unpopular conflict.
Yeah, midterms, Republicans are gonna.
Well, that's what we have to
Yeah.
hope for in terms of regardless of Republican or Democrat, regardless of party politics or identity politics,
Right.
can we have Americans that want to represent Americans in our government who truly do want to end endless wars, to end the forever wars, to stop giving billions and billions and billions of dollars to a foreign nation, whatever that foreign nation may be.
Right.
Israel, Mexico, Canada, whoever.
Right.
Wouldn't matter. Why would any nation ever think it in their interests to give that much of its nation's treasure, its taxes, its
Right.
earned money
Yeah.
to any other nation regardless,
Right. Like
regardless of who it is?
Like they're really against socialism here in America, like feeding kids. I mean, providing medical care to people here. But they most definitely they believe in socialized wars and death and destruction.
Socialized warfare, socialized the exportation of violence and hate. And who's really getting rich off of this? The military-industrial complex is
Bunch of
getting
billionaires.
tremendously rich. And to be honest, to fabricate, design, and start pumping out asymmetric capability like low-cost drones, low-cost options that are just as effective, the military-industrial complex will always lead us away from that to the more expensive option.
Yeah, Trump's son, he started a drone company, didn't he?
So he didn't start it, but he's
on the board.
Both of his sons, Don Jr. and Eric, are both investors in an up-and-coming drone technology company that is looking at weaponized drones.
And the government's, are they getting government contracts already?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That is crazy.
Well, isn't it? I mean, to where, the former U.S. Central Command commander, 2 Central Command commanders ago, General Lloyd Austin, Army, 4-star, very capable officer, retired and went to work for Raytheon. Then became the Secretary of Defense.
You talking about that black guy, right?
Yeah, the big Lloyd Austin, big guy.
The dude during COVID had that damn mask on. And
Yes, the mask took up most of his face.
Darth Vader.
Yeah, Lloyd Austin. I mean, and then there was the picture of him. I think he was visiting somewhere in Malaysia, and he was dancing,
yeah.
and everybody else was 3 feet shorter than him. And
Right. Yeah, because
dancing.
he's a big guy, right?
He's very tall.
Yeah.
And he has this big mask on. And
Yeah.
nobody else was wearing one. And he was like, what's wrong with this guy? So Lloyd Austin, former Central Command commander, retires, gets a job at Raytheon, and I mean big money at Raytheon.
Yeah.
Big money. And they didn't hire him because of his understanding of aerodynamics or physics or missile technology.
Right. He was
They hired
a
him because
DEI hire, was
They
he?
hired him for his Rolodex, the people he knows.
Right.
Yeah, he was a DEI hire, I guess. The diversity and inclusion of his Rolodex, of the people he knows.
Right.
He becomes the SecDef. And then, miraculously, Raytheon starts winning contract after contract after contract after contract. And then when
no coincidence.
when he gets fired as being the SecDef, who does he go back to work for? Raytheon. And then people look at that and they're like, oh no, they wouldn't do that. It's too obvious. I'm like, that's exactly how they do it. It's so obvious.
Right.
What better way to rob a bank than to do it in the middle of the day as the bank manager with the keys to the vault?
Right.
I'm
Wall
gonna
Hawk's
rob-
on the left and the right.
Just do it in the middle of the day in front of everybody. What are you doing? Nothing. It looks like you're clearing out the vault. I'm the manager. Never do that. The getaway cars waiting outside.
Right.
You're wearing a shirt that says, "Yes, I'm robbing the bank." Oh no. It's like, yes, yes. So when you look at this, and it's like, hey, they're shooting at us with $30,000 3D printed off the shelf drones that they can produce 3,000 a day of, and just cranking them out, and they're having an impact. And in order to hit one of those drones, we're shooting a $1.4 million missile at it.
Right.
Hey, military-industrial complex, can you give us some of that stuff? No, but we can give you 100 of those $1.4 million interceptors.
Yeah. Right.
No. We're going to need a lot of those. Oh yeah, you're going to need a lot of them. You're going to need about $1.5 trillion worth of them. And then
that is disgusting.
But that's exactly. I mean, that's how the game works. That's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
That's what whether it's repainting the reflecting pool, whether it's who gets a military contract, the
ballroom,
like
yeah.
the price. The price always goes up. It's never on schedule, and by the time you get what you needed, the environment has moved on from that. Like we're like, oh look at this new interceptor.
Yeah.
It can shoot and 6 interceptors. Ooh, yeah, we want that. How much?
Tony,
2.7 billion.
Tony, do you think we'll be facing these issues right now if this is a crazy question. I don't even know why I'm asking. But do you think if Kamala Harris is the president, will any of this be happening right now?
I do think we would still be down the same road with Israel.
Right.
Kamala
definitely.
Harris was a huge recipient of pro-Israel lobby, and you hear a lot of AIPAC.
Right.
AIPAC is not the only one.
It's lots of them, yeah.
AIPAC's
Then you got
not the only
private
one.
donors.
Well, you know who one of the big ones was for years, donating directly to the IDF? Cars for Kids.
What?
1-877 Cars for Kids.
That's
A guy in California found out that one of his cars that he donated, that he thought he was donating the money and the proceeds that were going to go to kids. He saw his truck, it was like Bill's Plumbing, in the front lines in Lebanon being used by Hezbollah. And he was like, how did it get there? What?
wow. That's
So
crazy.
he filed a lawsuit. And it so happened that Cars for Kids was just a front company taking in money for Israel, specifically for the IDF.
That is nuts.
Cars for Kids.
That's diabolical.
I mean, what's next? Grandma's home-baked cookies is going to the IDF? What's next? Ronald McDonald is selling missiles? Like,
Yeah.
what next?
Yeah.
So to your question there, some things would have been different under Kamala Harris, but some things would still be just as bad. Would we have a reflecting pool problem under Kamala Harris? Probably not. But we would still be giving billions of dollars to Israel.
Right.
I mean,
Would.
Joe Biden,
Yeah.
Sleepy Joe, what's happening now in Gaza didn't start overnight.
Yeah. Right.
It didn't just like poop. That started under Obama.
Do you think she would be bombing Iran?
So I think I feel that regardless of who was the president, the manipulation and the leverage that Israel has that drew us into this would still be there. I think that the war would have still started in terms of the initial strikes, kind of the back and forth, like we're going to hit you, you're going to hit us, and then we're going to negotiate. So do I think that February 28th and the war kicking off would have happened regardless of who is president, Kamala, Trump, whoever. I think that the ego of this president and whatever leverage there is over him, whether it's money, whether it's blackmail, whether it's the people around him are just so powerful now. I think that's certainly made it worse. But I think under Kamala, we would have still be where we are. Perhaps there'd be a different tone to it. I mean, I don't think we ever would have heard Kamala Harris say, I'm going to bomb you into the Stone Age.
Right.
And that,
You think she'd have killed the Ayatollah?
no. So
Wow.
I think that the strikes would have still happened. But I don't think
It wouldn't
that
have
another
been-
president would have struck the strike on the Ayatollah, the assassination of a nation's leader, a nation's political leader, a nation's symbolic leader. It's kind of like the Queen of England, right? She doesn't really have any power, but she does. She's still in that representative position. She still holds soft power. So I think that if someone would have brought that option to any other cabinet, because if we had Kamala Harris, we wouldn't have had Pete Hegseth. I think he's a big problem. I think he's a big part of it to where, hey boss, check it out. Target list, Ayatollah, girls' school. Yeah. Okay. And I think the military planners that brought him that option were like, that was a throwaway option? Like, that was not one we thought you would take? Like, you took there was just like, here's some ideas, and they always say throw in another one just to make it look like we have more than 3 courses of action. Let the commander pick like a combination. He went right for the worst one, like that one, and they're like, whoa, we didn't mean that. He's like, oh, we're doing it. Any other educated person would have looked at that and be like, okay, hold on, let me get this straight. You're recommending to me as the president through the military joint force command to conduct a strike that's going to kill not only the leader of this nation, but who is also the religious high cleric of the Shia faith within Islam. And you're also going to kill his 14-month-old girl that's with him in his office? We didn't kill him in some secret bunker. He was in his office. He wasn't hiding.
Right.
He was in.
I didn't even think he needed to.
He was probably on his Microsoft Office thing, like in the office. Like, wasn't hard. So when you look at that, I think any other president or cabinet would have looked at that and probably gone like, no.
Right.
Like we're still doing this, but we're not doing that.
Right. Okay.
And that's kind of in a way what's made it to where this conflict now is an albatross around Trump's neck, to where you did something that your opponent, your enemy, the opposition can't back down from. Can't back down from that.
Yeah.
How, as a nation, I mean, imagine if
it's like we couldn't back down from 9/11.
right? Like after 9/11.
Yeah.
Were we just supposed to back down from what whomever and whatever it was that caused it? But to just say, oh, we'll buff it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Iran is in a position to where they cannot, they will not, they should not surrender, capitulate, walk away, or allow that to become a new norm. Because look what Israel does in Lebanon. Look what Israel does in Gaza. Look what Israel does in the West Bank.
Yeah.
Anybody that moves into a position of leadership, whether it's Hamas, Hezbollah, I mean, Israel isn't just killing leadership within Hamas. Last month, Israel killed the second in charge of the entire Lebanese armed forces, a one-star general in south of Beirut. He wasn't Hezbollah.
Right.
He killed a Lebanese general. So when you consider who's then on the list to be killed out of this, it's like I said, the term or the label of terrorist just becomes everybody.
Yeah.
Well, he's a terrorist. Okay, well, and who isn't then, according to that doctrine?
Right.
But we're seeing it. Why that's frightening in terms of from a domestic front is that is the language that some of our politicians, not all, but that's the language that some of our politicians are moving.
Coming
toward.
from
You're a
the
domestic
right.
terrorist.
They take the Department of Defense. They don't even call it that no more. They call it the Department of War. It's like they're prepping us. I'm very leery of even voting these next midterms, especially for Republican, because I think this is some kind of test.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
if J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio becomes our next president, there's going to be a full-fledged war with Iran, boots on the ground.
Well, if it's Rubio, big time boots on the ground in Iran, but also Cuba.
Yeah.
Rubio wants Cuba.
Yeah, they want Cuba.
I mean, for Rubio, that's personal.
Like, I'm totally turned off by the Republican Party right now.
It's
Scared
just
of them.
it's so much warmongering.
Yeah.
War.
I think that's the Republican base though, the boomer. Yeah. They can't get enough war. If it's blowing up Muslims, they all for it. Yeah. I can totally see that.
It is there. I think we are seeing clear generational division between who is your boomer generation Republican and who's your new Republican.
Yeah. Right.
It's a
total disconnect.
It's diverging, and I think if you look at it overall, it's right now in our country, in this 250 years of our nation, in this great experiment in the world, that we need to focus on not identity politics and not, well, you think this, so you're just so evil. I can't vote for you based on your identification or your identity to this party. And rather look at the candidate to say, okay, like maybe that's a candidate that I don't agree with everything,
Right.
but in terms of getting us out of war, stopping the hemorrhaging of debt,
Yeah.
focusing on Americans, not just America, Americans first. I mean, with all the money that we've spent just in these last few months on the war with Iran, regardless of it being a political question or not, just sheer math, you could say what we've spent, if we were to spend that equivalent in the last 2 months and spend that at home, we would have solved the housing problem in the United States for a year. Put everyone under a roof.
Right.
Now, there could be the argument of saying of like, well, who deserves to be under a roof or who doesn't? Just saying by the pure math, you could say, well, we had this money. We have an option. Put a roof over everybody's head. Fight a war that has no end. Which is it?
Yeah. Common sense to spend the money on your people, you know. Hey,
Americans are hurting.
Yeah, they really hurt.
Americans need leadership, and Americans need Americans first. And I mean, just yesterday, Hakeem Jeffries, Democratic majority, took the largest single AIPAC payout in the history of AIPAC.
Really? Just happened yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday.
He got what? He got money
directly paid, not through another PAC or to the Democratic Party or to a certain movement, directly to his campaign, directly.
How much?
It was a first payment was like $187,000, and the next payment was like another $67,000. So if you look at Hakeem Jeffries over the course of years, he's taken into the millions,
right,
in total. But this is like a single payment, single like injection into his campaign directly, the largest direct contribution. And see where AIPAC skirts the rules. AIPAC itself is not a political action committee. AIPAC is the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee. They just educate. They just inform.
Right. And they get to pick and choose.
But they have a PAC underneath.
Yeah.
So when you say AIPAC PAC, that's not someone being redundant. That's the PAC underneath AIPAC. But then under AIPAC, the reason they can do what they do and not have to register as a foreign entity is because their umbrella organization isn't political. It's just public affairs, and we're just informing.
Which is total BS.
Well,
it's totally
of
political.
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Obviously. Yeah. I think I'm gonna throw up. Hey Anthony, this has been a great show. Where can people find you? Do you have any social media?
No, I don't, but I kind of like it that way.
Yeah.
But you can so back at home in North Carolina, I'm running in my district as an independent.
Okay.
Which some people say is a long shot, but I don't think it's a long shot because in my district, the incumbent is a longtime recipient of money directly from AIPAC. Takes a lot of money from AIPAC. He is a stated Israel First Republican. He never served in the military, and I bring that up because my district of District 13 in North Carolina has a lot of veterans and active duty service members. It's it touches Fort Bragg, and it's important that we have someone, whether it's me or anyone else. It's important that we have someone representing our district that understands the VA, that understands veterans' needs, that understands the nuances of veterans' pay. And when the government, when you hear someone go up there and they say, "Well, I push to get every service member their $1,776 bonus in December, 1776." They put it that amount.
Right.
And everybody's like, "Yay!" And what they didn't tell you was that, okay, where's that money come from? What they did was they gave them that bonus, but then come January, You know, probably the hardest part of the year for service members coming out of the holidays, they didn't get their BAH because of their
Right.
1776 bonus.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. They didn't give it. That's the money to live out in town, right? The extra money, BAH.
Yeah. So if you live on base,
Right.
you don't get BAH.
Right.
If you live off base, depending on your rank, family, etc.,
Right.
you get BAH at a rate based on zip code, rank, etc.
How expensive it is.
So
that area.
they gave them all that as kind of this kicker. But then, you know, read between the fine. It's kind of like when I was a captain, the military was hurting on officers, on captains, because captain is when you can get out.
Right.
And so people were looking at these wars and they're like, no way, I'm out. Or they were getting killed. Like so many of my classmates from West Point have been killed in war.
Wow.
The Army was losing so many junior captains that they decided to offer for the first time ever an incentives bonus to officers. Enlisted soldiers get incentive bonuses every time they re-up. You know, you get money or school or post of your choice. They decided to do that for officers. And they gave us this whole litany of options. It was a menu of incentives bonus is what they called it. And they were like, option to go to Ranger School. And I'm like, one, that's not a bonus. That's an ass kicking. I already have a Ranger tabs. I've already been to Ranger School, so don't need that. Okay, what's the other one? Advanced Civil Schooling. Well, I already have my GI Bill. Why would I want to take that? So I looked at the money. It was $30,000 limit. I was like, yeah, I'll take that. Okay. Stupid me. I took the money.
Right.
And after they tax it, it ain't much. You could have made that up from just skipping Starbucks for a month. So you get this bonus, right? Oh, like, oh yeah, 30,000. I can do a lot with that. And then it hits your paycheck the next month.
Yeah.
It's like, what's that? Well, that's your bonus. Where did half of it go?
Right.
Well, it's taxed. Oh, damn. But they gave it to us in December of that year. So it was just enough to bump every captain, because every captain in the Army, you all make the exact same amount of money.
Right.
It was just enough to bump us into the next tax bracket for the year. So then come our taxes the next year, anything that we made after taxes in that bonus, we actually ended up paying more out of pocket because of how much taxes we had to pay on the next year because it bumped us from that year into the next tax bracket, but we weren't really making that much money.
Right.
So I looked at it, I was like, man, they got me. They got the last click out of junior. They're not taking any more incentives from the military.
Yeah.
And then I stayed in for 25 years. So, but yeah, when I took that money, they're like, hey, stay on for at least 3 years into your time as a captain. Join the winning team. Bring it on him for the win.
Yeah.
And here's you get to pick out of the treasure box, like in elementary school.
Yeah.
And you open up the treasure box and you're like, oh. And then you find out later that like, oh man, this is just shit. This is nothing. Like, they took half of it in taxes, and then by the time I paid next year's income taxes, I actually ended up paying out of pocket. I shouldn't have taken it. The bonus would have been taking nothing.
Right. Yeah.
The bonus would have been none of those things. But I had some guys, some of my classmates that branched non-combat arms, and going to Ranger School would have been a great opportunity. Like, can you imagine being a finance officer and you get to go to Ranger School?
Right. Yeah,
I mean, you would never get the chance.
Right.
So you see that, you're like, I'll do it. So for them, it was great. But like, for those of us that were like infantry or combat arms, that your next ticket out of West Point is Fort Benning, Georgia, Ranger School, whether you like it or not. So I saw that on. I was like, well, damn, I already have. That's not a.
Yeah.
Is there like another bonus I can take? So the only option again was like the money, and again, young. At that point, I was 24 when I pinned captain. So I was like, I'll take that money. Yeah. And I got that money coming in. In my mind, I'd already spent it. I'm gonna get Lamborghinis and all this, because it'd like, wait, hey, I think you messed something up on the numbers.
Yeah.
No, that's after taxes. And I'm like, damn it. Should have read the fine print. So with all of us, with Donald Trump, we should have read the fine print.
Yeah. Yes, that's the same. That's the thing. There was no fine print with him.
Yeah. Because man, we took that. We thought we were getting that bonus, and man, we're paying for it now.
Yeah.
We're going to pay for it in the future. And I'm telling you, the squeeze on our economy from the Strait of Hormuz being restricted and closed earlier, that the whiplash of that impact hasn't made it to us yet.
Hasn't even started yet.
Hasn't even started. But it's coming.
It's coming. It's going to come right before those midterms.
Yep.
Everybody's going to feel it.
Everybody's going to
get
feel it.
slaughtered.
You're going to feel it at the pump. You're going to feel it at the grocery store. You're going to feel it in paying your bills. You're going to feel it across the board. And there are many Americans right now that come September, October, the decisions they're going to be making is, do I put gas in my car or do I feed my kids?
Right. That sucks.
Because people are running up the credit card debt. That is a limit.
That's the Trump effect.
Yep.
Exactly what it is. Hey, Tony, thank you for coming on, brother.
Thanks. Appreciate
Been
it, guys.
very insightful.
Thank y'all. And
Thank you.
yeah, y'all look good.
Well,
I like the hats.
Yeah, he brought us these hats.
Yeah.
Specially made. This is his uniform in the flag. Yeah. His actual uniform.
So I brought those hats from North Carolina. My uniform is made into the hat from a veteran special operator in North Carolina. He's got a company called Eagles and Angels. So anybody can look him up. All the proceeds go to a good cause. And if you have like a veteran that served in your family and you want to have something commemorative done, like a hat made for them, you can get, you can pick, I want a white hat with red flag and I want to put my grandfather's Navy uniform as the background. They can do
that's
all
so
that.
cool.
But Eagles and Angels, it goes to the, to not only the warriors that serve, but also to the fallen. So
Good cause.
good cause.
And it's been a damn good show.
Well, thank y'all.
Yeah, thank
This
you
was,
for coming.
This was very special to sit and talk with y'all and share all this.
Yeah.
Like-minded patriots.